Hello everybody, this is Purge bringing you guys a 7.06 gameplay update. This is a new patch. Just came out about 6 hours ago, but unfortunately I was at the dog park and then I was working on Day 9 show stuff for the future. So, doing this one a little late. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And again, this is first impressions, so I have not read this yet. I've been slightly spoiled on tweets. Curse you people who tweet legit patch note lines in their Twitter. Let's get started. Gameplay update is 7.06, so this is the After Kiev major patch. I wasn't completely sure if there'd be a big patch, but it sounds like there has been a big one, especially because the number is whole. First of all, we're going to have to expand the shit out of this text. That way I can ensure you guys can read this. If you guys want to check this out, dota2.com/706 is the easiest way. I love when they do these extensions. It makes it so much easier to see things. I actually did change the stream name. Somebody corrected me on that before, and you just haven't refreshed is all. So we're good. Unless you refuse to restart, in which case it's always going to be like that. If you guys are wondering what this cup is, it's for me to receive money in a very shameless way, but no comment. Give me your money. Okay, deny mechanics. Okay, very big change here. Creep denies now grant the denying team 30% of the experience bounty. This is very interesting. Normal deny experience increased from 50 to 70%. So, this means that if you deny a creep, it goes from 50% experience loss to 70%. And the person that denies it gets 30% of this 70%. So this is going to be one of the many times where I need to pull up a calculator. So I might as well just add it to XSplit, I think. Put it like here. And I'll just turn it on and off. And most of the time, I'm just going to completely forget that I put it here. Oop. Put it like right here. I'm going to try to turn this off when I don't need it. So let's say a range creep is worth 90. So before, you'd lose half that experience, which is 45, but now you're losing 70%, so we're going to multiply it by 0.3, which is how much experience it does give to somebody that gets denied. So that's 27, that's very low. Melee creep is 45. So this is a very, very little experience. So that is, what, 63? 63 divided by 225 is the total experience loss. So you lose 28% of the experience for a creep wave if the range creep is denied, which is ridiculous. It's a lot. And then if you do 70% of that, I believe it was 63, right? And then if we multiply that by 0.3, that means if you deny a range creep, you're getting yourself 18.9 experience points, and your opponents lose like a stupid amount, 63 experience. So this is a swing of very close to 100%, but not quite there, if my math is right. I'm wrong? I'm wrong? Let me see. When your creep gets denied, you now get 70%. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So I saw it the wrong way. Good thing I'm reading chat. So rather than losing more experience, you actually lose less. So it's less punishing for denies, except for the fact that your team gets more experience. Okay, so let's redo the math then. So range creep is normally 90, used to be 45, but now we'll multiply it by 0.7. So now you get 63. So you're only losing 27 experience now, and of that 27 we multiply that by 0.3, so it's the other way around. So if you deny a range creep, you get 8.1 experience for yourself. Wait, is that right? 30% of the experience bounty, or is it 30% of the total? It's probably 30% of the total, I feel like. 0.3 times 90, so you get yourself 27, they lose 30, so it's basically whatever they lose is what you end up gaining, which is kind of interesting. I believe... No, total? No, yeah, I corrected it halfway through. Yeah, I think I just got it. 30% of the experience bounty. Okay, I think I got it. Got it! Easy. Easy math. So, whatever you lose from denies, your opponents now gain, basically. Which is huge because in the past it was what? It was a dilution of resources. You would deny somebody resources, but it wouldn't actually make you better. But now you're going to gain resources from it, which basically means that people should be denying usually into the late game if possible, assuming that they're not too busy to do something else. It's not like a lot of experience, obviously, but it could be huge. One place this could actually matter is maybe for games where you're losing, where mega creeps or super creeps are pushing in your base. That could be kind of interesting way to. But it's kind of a cool change. I think this will matter a lot in the mid lane especially, and probably for carries as well. For off lane heroes, I feel like this is a net buff obviously, but it's also a buff to carries, I would say, and also a buff to really shitty support players who just sit in lane denying all the time. So it's kind of a cool change. It helps a lot of different spectrums of the pro scene and of the game. Shitty pub players who only deny as supports are going to be benefited, and shitty offlaners, well, not necessarily shitty offlaners, but offlaners that are kind of zoned but can't get last hits are more benefited. So kind of interesting. So it should result in more levels for safe lanes. They should level up a lot faster, but so should the off lane. And in the mid lane, whoever's better is going to get an even bigger advantage, I assume. Because if you think about it before, it was what you deny 50%, but you don't gain anything from it, except that you would have ultimately more experience in them. But now it's a swing of they gain 20, but they still lose 30, but you also gain 30. So ultimately, it's just, if you're really good at denying, it's good or some shit. I don't know. I'd have to like look this down and do some scenario things. Let me think about it really quick. So if you're a mid, I'm going to spend about 20 minutes on this probably. If you're good at denying mid, they're going to get more levels than before, but you're going to level up faster. And they're only getting 20% more experience per creep than they would have otherwise, whereas you're getting 30% per what you're denying from them. So overall, it's better for the denier because you're getting an extra 10%. So if you're really bad at the game, you will not get as screwed over. Your hero won't, but your opponent should have more advantage, is how it works, I believe. Okay, we can move on. That wasn't 20 minutes. All right, we're going to turn the calculator off. Goodbye, calculator. You are not super efficient. Shrines now start on cooldown and become available 5 minutes. Okay, so this really hurts the mid lane a lot and the off lane, because off lanes can usually just shrine right away, which is kind of obnoxious as a support trying to zone. Reduce shrine count on base. Thank God, I was really hoping this would happen. There were way too many shrines in the base. So they removed the shrines from the top and bottom lanes behind the barracks, which is the ones that are probably right behind the barracks. They're probably still... There's probably like, what, one per lane from the top and bottom lanes behind the barracks. So that probably means there's 3 in the middle, I think is how it is. So there should be maybe like 2 in between the bot racks and the mid racks. Basically, the ones that are 2 spots between the mid racks and the other racks, and maybe 1 near your tier 4s or something. I don't really remember where they all are. But this really needed to happen because it was really difficult to go high ground, and even if you did, people would shrine. And it's kind of difficult to reinitiate again after they shrine once. Most of the time, you're kind of just committed. Shrines mana regen growth per minute reduced, so this is going to affect players that don't buy mana regen items late game, which is potentially cool. Interesting change. Did I... Oh, I don't know what I'm talking... Sorry, my bad. Chat distracted me. Doggy, don't bark. Okay. 100% from enemy creeps and 30 from your own creeps via deny, so basically 30% increase in potential XP. It is, yes. Which should give more added benefit to players, heroes that have higher base damage, which could be huge. It's also, in some ways, a big nerf to heroes that can push lanes. That's something that's kind of interesting. Because if you're playing Alina, most of the time, the easiest thing to do is just push the lane really fast. Just nuke the wave and go do something else. But now, if you actually just control the lane, like a Viper, for example, Viper is like super buffed by this, because he's really good at right-clicking and denying every single creep. So here, like Viper is going to get way more levels and actually stomp his lane harder than before because he'll be leveling up more rapidly, which is a pretty big advantage for him. So we could see a little bit of a change in what's actually effective mid as a result of this, which is kind of cool. Because right now, if you can't push the lane out mid lane, or you can't nuke mid lane, it's just awful. It's really not a good advantage. What does it mean for Lich deny? Does he get more value for range deny? He shouldn't. Does that count as a deny? I don't know if it counts. I don't believe it counts technically. The creep is in some ways denied, but it doesn't count as a deny. It doesn't increase your deny number. What you could actually, the one here this is kind of good for is actually Enigma. Enigma could play off lane, deny allied lane creeps, and get 30%. So he would be better off laning. Not that Enigma's an amazing off laner, but he can kind of do it. So there's some heroes that get some benefit maybe, but not a lot. It's pretty much just Enigma off the top of my head. There's not that many other ways to deny, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Enigma can deny anything. Lanes, add an extra melee creep in mid lane for the first 15 minutes until the first melee upgrade wave of 15. Okay, so basically that lane has more creeps. It should have 4 melees and 1 ranged, which is kind of interesting. This should mean that you can hit 2. You should be able to hit level 2 from the first creep wave no matter what, unless you get like every creep denied. Because before, if you'd get denied a lot, then you wouldn't hit 2 and your opponent would hit 2 before you. There's also more potential for pushing. This also kind of benefits mid heroes in a lot of ways, because now there's more farm mid, obviously. So it's kind of interesting how this changes. Creeps mid a bit closer to the offlane tower, which is ultimately probably fine. Maybe they're trying to make it so offlane heroes don't have to be so goddamn good at trading and zoning heroes and jungling. Because right now it's like almost the only good offlane heroes, it feels like, are just like heroes that can jungle. Or heroes that can trade really well. Creep aggro duration reduced by just a little bit. This is when you right click an enemy hero, they will aggro to you, I assume. Like aggro no matter what, so it'll be a little bit harder to pull creeps past. Creep aggro cooldown increased. So this is something that's very interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen something so like game strategy based changed, but basically hurts offlane heroes because you have to wait an extra half second to be able to re-aggro, and the aggro duration is less, so it's harder to pull creeps really far. This is kind of, I don't know how much of an impact this will do, because I don't know that much about I'm not very good. I don't very often pull a creep aggro, but we'll see how it works. Lane creeps vision reduced. Again, another guide becomes a failure, but it's now 750, so it's a little bit easier to move around without getting spotted by lane creeps, which is kind of cool. I'm a little surprised. I was really surprised to see the numbers so high. I thought they were much less, but 750 is still quite a bit, but it's definitely gonna make a big impact at day and night vision. So should help players move around better without getting spotted, which should increase gank potential, I would argue. Also makes the team losing a little bit more behind, I would argue. Players that are a little bit worse at warding. Neutrals now spawn every minute instead of 2 minutes. I'm actually really happy they did this, kind of, because the game changed so much by the neutrals not spawning every minute, and it was in a lot of ways that maybe were unforeseen. I know there's like tons of neutrals on the map, but for example, like Shadow Demon, absolute shit hero in the last patch, because one way that he kind of started getting good is you'd max Shadow Poison, and when you had downtime, you'd stack camps, and then later you go clear them. But now that you can't stack until every 2 minutes, it's like any hero that actually just wants to stack to accelerate their allies, it's just difficult to do because the time that it might line up is just so much harder. So even if they give a little bit less golden experience, I'm happy with this because it'll further encourage stacking, which kind of just died in the last patch, which was kind of silly. It was kind of sad just because it was an aspect of Dota that always existed. But them giving less experience in gold is also kind of interesting. I wonder if there's some heroes that'll get really screwed by this. Maybe like AFK junglers certainly are screwed, actually. Well, I wouldn't say screwed, but heroes like Legion Commander Jungle are going to have a worse time, by far. This could really affect Crystal Maiden as well. This is kind of a nerf. Basically, anybody that is good at easily clearing neutral camps in the early game, this was definitely going to hurt them. Single neutral camps. This is going to hurt them. With that said, if they have a lot of mobility, it's not going to be a big deal because they're going to be able to clear the whole jungle and go back and do it again very rapidly. So for heroes like Anti-Mage Battle Fury, it's probably not a big deal. But for heroes like Legion Commander Jungle level 1, it should be worse. And Crystal Maiden level 1, it should definitely be worse as well. Because the neutrals are... Oh, interesting. Their experience in gold goes up every minute. So I would assume that means after 10 periods of this that they are equal to the previous, which kind of makes sense because in late game you're kind of just clearing camps really fast anyways, so it's probably better to put them up to what they were before. And if we pull up the calculator again, how long is that going to take? What is it, 10 times 7.5, so that's what, 75 minutes? Which is actually so long that it probably doesn't matter. So I like this. This is a pretty cool change. Oh yeah, we need that to be above. There we go. So I think this is a cool change. I think this is going to give a lot of heroes more to do in the early game. It's actually going to really, I mean, we don't know what else is going to happen down here below, but this is going to really help out supports in the safe lane as well. So that if your camps get blocked, you're not as screwed. If you don't stack at the 1 minute mark, you're not as screwed either. I think this is overall a very cool change. But we'll see how this impacts some heroes that rush jungling and do early jungling. Yeah, even heroes like... It's actually such a cool solution. Offlane heroes nerfed basically. Offlane heroes slightly buffed. in some ways offlane heroes nerfed, but in some ways buffed. But like the typical, basically all those typical heroes are good because they can clear neutrals like early in the game, and those heroes are certainly nerfed because of things like that. But if they have AoE, there's a buff. So I feel like all the ones that are good at jungling right now are, I don't know, we'll see how this makes a difference. Maybe Axe will be better, maybe Legion Commander will be better, but definitely not Legion. I think Legion is certainly worse here, but I don't know, we'll see. Not 2% of the 7, am I doing my math wrong? No, I'm doing, so okay, so if I want 2% to be 20, actually that won't necessarily work, right? Because if it's reduced by 20%, that means it's at 80, right? Instead of 100. They'll say they give 80 experience instead of 100. But to get it back up to 100, you don't need a 20% increase. You need more than that. You need 25% increase. So it's actually more like, what, like 12 and a half? What am I thinking? 10 counts of this plus another 2.5 of that. So another 15. Basically, it's like 90 minutes. It takes 90 minutes, I think, about to give equivalent experience. I didn't think about that. Oh man, you guys are really having a good time shit talking my math skills. Enjoy it. Creeps. Siege damage type versus structures increase. So this is going to be for catapults and tiny ags. And what else? Is there's not much siege damage in the game. It's 11 cycles for 99. Okay. Is there really? Okay. Is it 2% compounding? Does it say that? I don't know. I probably shouldn't even bother to do the math. It's kind of a small thing. So that's a pretty big change. Siege creeps HP increased by a lot. That's like insane because they have fortified armor, if I'm not mistaken. And the spawn rate reduced from every 7th wave to every 10th, so they spawn less now. But they have way more HP and they do way more damage. Like before, siege creeps were kind of useful, but not that great. They weren't that good at killing towers, so I kind of liked that they're being buffed to increase their damage. Extra range siege creeps now spawn at 40 minutes instead of 45. So basically trying to make the game end a little faster. Attributes. By the way, this is makes Midas still really good, makes things like Devour really good, being able to kill the siege creeps if needed. Or doing pure damage against them, still very good. But that's kind of a small thing. Mostly it's going to affect towers dying. This is like a huge increase, actually. So it's like 1.5 versus 2.5 damage, which is a massive increase. That's like 66% damage increase. So we might even see cheese strats with like catapults that are commanded, and then you do like alacrity on them or something. Now it's getting to be ridiculous levels, actually. That honestly, you'll see meme videos very soon about that, 100%. Attributes. All heroes' strength growth increased. All heroes, okay? This is not a lot of strength gain, but it's a little. We'll see what the difference is. Regeneration comes from strength increased. Okay, I actually really like this because this is one of the stupidest mechanics in the game, that every point of strength you get gives you 0.03 HP per second. It just was so little. It was actually so little that you just didn't care. You're like, oh wait, if I get a Reaver, which is 25 strength, let's see how much HP this gives me per second. Literally an inconsequential amount, 0.75. It's like, who gives a shit? It's not even 1. But now that's going to be 1.5. Because we're doing times 0.06. So that's kind of cool. I think ultimately this will help all heroes across the game is another point, because everybody gains strength, right? So if everybody's gaining strength across the game, they're going to be gaining a lot more regen. So let's read the rest of it first. Base HP regen is 0.25 less on all heroes. So that's going to offset a lot of it, which should mean that you have much less regen early game, but probably more late game if you have a lot of strength. So you maybe a little bit less reliance on regen items. It's such a tiny amount, it's really not much. I mean, every 25 strength is an extra 0.75 HP regen. It's really not that much. Intelligence spell amp from 1% for 15 to 1% for 14. So spell amp is again a little bit better. It started at 16, now it's 14. Not a huge change, but it can matter on some heroes. Mana per point of intelligence reduced again, so another one down. This is kind of crazy. It started at 13 mana per int, and now it's less. And base mana increased by 25, probably to offset this for everybody. Which means spell up is better, but you may need more mana regen items, and you may need more plus mana items in the game, which I think is kind of good, because generally that's not a huge issue for most heroes late game. And keep in mind that the shrines give less mana gain late game, so you may be more required to purchase mana sustain. perhaps. This is kind of bad for heroes like Anti-Mage, slightly. Maybe this one. Slightly bad. It's less mana overall. Yeah, less mana overall to drain and then ulti on. And slightly bad for Storm Spirit as well. That's, I mean, usually it's probably only a difference of like 100 mana for him late game anyways, but yeah, might matter. Economy, reduce melee creeps bounty from 45 to 40, okay. Reduce melee creep gold bounty upgrade from 3 gold per cycle to 1 gold per cycle. So I think that's the, what, every like period of time, like 7 minutes, 10 minutes or something like that. The amount of gold increase that they get. So over time, they give less gold. Melee range barracks team bounty reduced. So less gold gained for killing a melee barracks. Roshan team bounty reduced as well, down to 150. Shrine bounty reduced. So this is basically just like nerfs to teams that are winning. Death cost from 100 plus net worth divided by 50 to 50 plus net worth divided by 40. So when you die, you lose less gold now. So let's say you have like, I don't know, 16k net worth or something like that. Say 16k, and we divide that by 50, which is like a pretty good late game value. So you're losing like, what, 420 gold? I did not do that on purpose, my bad, guys. But now it is, that was 420, so now it's 1600 divided by 40 plus 50. Did that just go up? Am I crazy? Because technically the number is, this number is bigger because the denominator is smaller. Yeah. So this is actually an increase, a very small increase. So if you have more net worth, basically like late game, you lose more gold than you used to. And early game, you lose less than you used to, is how they changed it. So it's less expensive to die in the early game now than it used to be, is how it works. Okay, tier 3 team bounty. Tier 3 tower team bounty is reduced, tier 4 tier bounty. So basically across the board, just reductions in gold gain. I wonder, this could also be seen heavily as a, these are, a lot of these, pretty much all of these are buffs to, except for maybe this death cost one, because I haven't thought about it, but almost all of these are buffs to teams that are losing, actually. Less gold gain if you kill towers, less gold gain if you kill shrines, less gold gain if you kill Roche, barracks give less, melee creep bounty, I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure this gold upgrade doesn't exist for when you have super creeps. So it basically means that if your team has 2 lanes of racks killed on them, that means the creeps that you spawn are stronger. But the creeps running at you haven't accrued as much gold because they get less gold per cycle. So I might be wrong on this, but I think that the team that is losing is going to be gaining a closer amount of gold from the map and just overall less gold gain from all these things. So interesting change. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna get a lot of shit wrong if that wasn't obvious. Because I'm doing first impressions here. So math errors abound. Okay, general changes. Illusion gold and experience bounty from 5 plus level to 2 times level. So that means illusions give way, oh I'm sorry, it's 5 plus level, whereas now it's 2 times. So let's think, this means at 25 you're given 50 gold, whereas before it would be 30. So basically illusions are going to feed a lot more gold than they used to. This is pretty bad for pretty bad for heroes like Phantom Lancer, because he can lose illusions very often and he does level up pretty fast. So hopefully he gets some huge buffs, because I think that's one of the big negatives to him. I think he's the hero hit the hardest by this because he has a lot of illusions. Whereas early game, it's like what, 2 gold versus 7. So at the very start of the game your illusions feed less gold, but late game they feed a lot more. It's kind of a shitload really. Like if a level 25 Terrorblade spawning like 3 illusions, if you just, or 4 illusions we'll say, 2 conjure images on Manta, you just kill them, that's 200 gold. That's actually a shitload of, and that's experience. Are you serious? Is that the same? That's actually incredible now. To kill level 25 illusions. You kill 4 of those things. You kill 3 of them, it's 150 golden experience. That's a lot. That is a lot. PLs always cost 5. Okay, I didn't know he was an exception. Well, thank you for that. I didn't know that. Illusion building damage reduction from 50% to 60. So illusions do even less damage to buildings. That's a 20% reduction. to how much they currently do. Buyback cooldown increased from 7 to 8 minutes. That's huge. So that basically means buyback is even harder to play around if you have to use it. Roshan now drops cheese from the second death instead of the third. I actually got spoiled on this one on Twitter. I kind of like this because the third Rosh is always so delayed, kind of, whereas second Rosh is very realistic. But it'll help those mid-game teams a bit harder, so it might help like teams that win one team fight in the mid-game win the next team fight. Roshan armor bonus per upgrade interval increased from 1.1 to 1.3, so he's a little bit harder to kill physically in the late game, which kind of makes sense because everybody's got a solar crest anyways, unless that item gets nerfed to the ground. Power-up runes now spawn different runes on both sides of the river after 40 minutes. Okay, I kind of like that actually. Dices up the map a little bit more, and there's only ever one rune. It makes late game bottle a lot better too, because there's always going to be like at least something. And they're also different, so that means there won't be like 2 haste runes, 2 DDs. It'll be like DD Invis or something. The other cool thing about this is if you have map control, you could have both. So this may be a nice resurgence for heroes like Tiny as well, or Morphling, because you could be like, all right, we'll wait for the rune. You grab the rune, you grab one, you run over, grab the other one, and then you've got like a DD haste or something with one of them in the bottle. Would be kind of fun. So I actually like this. This is a cool change. It should help. It's a little bit of chaos is the only downside, but there's not that much chaos in Dota 2 right now. By chaos I mean RNG. So I think this is overall pretty good. I like it. Uphill mischance no longer applies to flying units. Okay, Bat Rider using Firefly. There's not that many cases of flying units really. It's like couriers. I think against couriers this is most cool. Just because there's a lot of times where by the time you attack the courier, he happens to fly up a cliff by the time your attack connects and you miss. I think that was always really annoying. So this is a pretty good against couriers, for sure. Definitely a little bit worse for Bat Rider, though, that's for sure. Just a bit, though. Fixed various... Winter Wyvern, good point. Yeah, Winter Wyvern, good point. Fixed various pathing issues with bottom dire creeps between Tier 1 and Tier 2. That was where they would walk on opposite sides of the tower, which would make it hard to block them correctly. So I'm glad they did that. Tower's bonus armor based on nearby enemy heroes AoE increased. That is a huge range. So again, to correct myself and you guys if I got this wrong, which I have, I think Sean corrected me. So if you're pushing a tower with 5 allies, that tower that you're pushing has more armor. So it's basically a buff to split pushing. And now that the range is even longer, that means pretty much any hero that's like pretty darn close to the tower is going to increase the tower's armor, even if you're looking to dive. So interesting choice. This is also going to help defenders advantage, heroes defending their high grounds against enemy heroes. All right, respawn talents. Replaced all 42 respawn talents in the game. I saw somebody write this in chat a moment ago, and thinking about it now, I guess it's pretty good because it kind of changes the game in a lot of really huge ways. And it just changes the game so much. And it was kind of just an obnoxious... I personally hated those talents. I felt like I had to get them half the time. But the other stupid thing is, like, if you don't get them and you die in a stupid way, you just lose the game, right? But if you have the talent, maybe you'll be maybe you'll be alive in time or something. But it's just such a stupid... It's just such a stupid way to play the game, right? It's like you grab a talent that probably doesn't do anything, but might do something. It's not fun, right? I don't know if that's necessarily why they changed this, but I think it's a pretty good thing to throw in, and I'm pretty happy with this. I'm just gonna look over these pretty quick. I'm not gonna like pull up the heroes or anything, but this is pretty cool. So I'm gonna Golem on Death. The other level 20 talent, I believe, is it HP? Honestly, I can't remember. I think it's like HP is what it is. +1 dismember duration is pretty good. I believe the other one was 150 GPM on Pudge. So I would put it from 3 to 4. I got spoiled on this. I was taking clips and I saw there was a Magnus in the game. I saw his talent tree, but 500 skew range is pretty good. That's actually super far. I think skewer is already like 800 range, I think. So this is like potentially massive, especially if you have like an Aether Lens to blink far enough. Skip, it'll come back later. I'm good. Lone Bear, 50% Spirit Bear magic resistance. That's actually incredible. This is such a cool change. I can't remember what Lone Druids is. I mean, I won't spend a lot of time on this, but there's a lot of times where Lone Druid will just be hard countered by Maledict, for example. And he either has to buy BKB or nothing else, because he doesn't want to buy a Hood on Spirit Bear. Nobody ever does that. Lead at 40 boom speed. That's pretty huge, especially with Fiery Soul. That's pretty cool. That's also with the, is that the GPM perk? Can't remember. No, it's HP. So it's HP or Malefice. 350 fissure range if you just need to be longer. The other one is Echo Slam damage, I think. This is pretty value. I don't know what the other one is. Spell Lifesteal. Okay, that's kind of cool. The other one's attack speed. Spell Lifesteal is pretty cool. You know, I actually really like this. This is a nice change to the hero, because actually farming 4k gold just to use that is kind of obnoxious, whereas now you can actually hit 20 and do something else very useful. I think that's a nice buff to the hero. Oh, it's a level 25 one, that's why. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Ooh. I like this one a lot. That one could be really, really useful. Lightning Bolt mini stun. Okay, I like that. Half second stun. There's a lot of really cool things here. It's like things that make the hero look fun to play, basically. This feral HP regen would also apply to your summons, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, like all of these things are so interesting. You're like, hey, I could use this to play the game in a cool way. And instead it was all just respawn faster. Like, fuck that, so boring. But all this shit is so cool. I really like this. Okay. Like, all these things are cool. Like, they're just fun. They're so much more fun than Respawn. Respawn's so boring. Just it was a bad game design, I think, is the problem. It was kind of a cool idea, but I like their choice to just remove it all. I think they realized they made it a mistake. They made a mistake and it made the game kind of stupid. Like, all these are so useful, potentially. I saw this one in game as well. Ooh, Poison Touch DPS. Core Dazzle's coming back, guys. That's potentially really good as well. I think the other one is Sandstorm Damage, so this is actually something players might get. Not sure if... I don't know if anybody will get this. Oh, actually, that's OP, because it'll also apply to your wards. That could be amazing. It's like an insane slow. I don't know what the slow is, probably like 11% or something. 14-ish. That's amazing. Ice Vortex slow and resistance. That's pretty OP. So it'd go from like 30% slow to 38. That's super value, potentially, at level 20. The other one is movement speed, I think. 45 movement speed, 40 movement speed. Oh, that is amazing. Disruptor is going to, like Slack's going to meme on this shit. You can get 40 Thunderstrike, and then you can get the level 25 talent. That makes it nuke 4 times extra. As probably one of the most boring things I've ever seen, but there it is. It's not terrible, though. Like, Elder Titan does have a little bit of a weak mana pool. Tether stuns. Ooh, bring it back. I was never going to hit 25, though. Let's be real. Pure and pierces immunity. Okay, this shit is amazing, actually. This is so good. Like, Macro Power is a shitload of damage. But if it's pure and pierces immunity, this actually gives Jakiro some really good late game potential. You have to hit 25. It's kind of hard on Jakiro, but could be really good. 75 cast range is kind of good, but pretty boring, I would say. I would say this is kind of a nerf to line in some ways. Like, the hex range increase is very good, I would say. Even the earth spike is. I mean, this is honestly pretty good. I can't complain too much. It's potentially very useful. It's at her 60 damage. I'm not sure which one I'd grab in most cases. Kind of depends on the enemy heroes, probably. Remove teleportation cooldown at 25. Okay. Interesting choice. The other one is 2 times Treant HP and MP. I think a lot of cases I would actually get this, maybe, if I didn't have Ags or something. Because I make a lot of mistakes teleporting around. The split push potential is just insane. And the TP duration is, the channeling is 3 seconds, which is pretty huge, or pretty, it's longish. But this is so abusable. We're going to see some really hilarious clips from this shit. I guarantee it. Fortune's End max duration. That is your first skill, I think? Or is it your ulti? I actually don't know. I don't remember which skill this is. Fate's Edict is your second. It might be your ultimate. Purifying Flames. I don't remember. What do you guys think? First skill? Okay, that's what I figured. It goes up to 2.5 seconds, so this is a pretty big increase. So you'd have to channel for a long time, but it's pretty long duration. Not too bad. Phoenix God, experience gain at 10. That's a good change, I think. That's a lot better than, it was like health and respawn time. Both sucked. This is actually something that Phoenix might get. This is OP as shit, actually. At 15. I think the other one's health. No, the health is at 10. I'm not sure what the other one is, but decorruptoration is like 3.5 seconds with a cooldown of 6 at level 4, which this puts it at 4.5 at 6. That means if you get an Octarine, it's perma. So that's potentially really good. This was... I really hope there's Shadow Demon buffs. He's like one of the shittiest supports right now, by far. Hopefully just they fix the illusion problem. It's like the only thing that's good about him, but it's annoying and stupid. This is potentially good. It's like 2.5 seconds right now. So this could put it down to 1 second, which is not bad. 1 second cooldown, because that's kind of the problem. It's very difficult to cast 5 stacks of Shadow Poison on somebody. It almost never works late game. It's just like, it's actually one of the most worthless skills right now, is what Shadow Poison feels like. And there's the Lotus Orbs that can remove, that can purge off or dispel Shadow Poison stacks. You can get a BKB, you can use yourself. There's like a million ways to stop somebody stacking 5 Shadow Poison. Naturally, just killing the Shadow Demon is the easiest, but... Okay, this is really cool actually. 30% greater bash damage. It's that or gold, I believe. But I think the bash right now is like 44, I believe, for bash damage. 30% is huge. That means as you charge through people, it will do more damage now, which will probably make it somewhere around like, it'll do like close to 200 damage as you charge through people. So this is potentially really good to help late game Spirit Breaker do more damage. I like this. That's something that TAs are actually going to grab now, because before it was like 30% respawn or 30-second respawn or 4 refraction, which was just like, it was or 5 refraction charges extra. It just wasn't a choice. You just always get the refraction, but this is something players might actually want, because that would do minus 16 armor with a meld strike late game, which is godly. With a Dazzle on top of that, that's what, 23? It's like actually insane. It's damage, not chance. Oh yeah, people are confused. The reason I thought about that at first, I was like, wait, doesn't he already have bash chance? And he does, it's at 25. So at 25, you can get higher bash chance. This is greater bash damage. 30% is based on your movement speed. That's why it's a percentage. That's why you guys are confused. Okay, and techies, plus 250 attack damage. They actually did it. They actually fucking did it. What the fuck? 250 attack damage. That's actually a Divine Rapier. With that said, the Techie's respawn was real good. Real good. So replacing with 250 damage is in some ways fair. It's probably still bad. Honestly, it's probably still bad, but this is also disgustingly good, I must say. 15 health regen at 10 is incredible, because that's kind of what Undyne wants to do, right? He just wants to stay alive. So being able to go 10 or 15 health regen, pretty good. And the other option is 90 GPM, I believe. It was either respawn or GPM. I think in a lot of cases I'd still get the GPM, but this is so good actually. Like I don't need, why do you need GPM anymore when you can just have health regen, and then all you have to do is buy HP items and get an arcane boots. If you have like this plus Vanguard, I don't even think you can die on Undyne anymore in the early game. With a little bit of armor maybe. This is a huge Undyne buff right here, in my opinion. That's a giant buff. And God, can I just say again, I love that there's no more respawn talents. It's so good, because I'm thinking of Undyne, I'm like, I'll get the minus 20%, 20-second respawn. That way, if I die, I can respawn right away, TP back in, and join the fight. Who gives a shit? I want to be strong. And 15 health regen gives me a way to actually do that, and a way to like tangibly make the battle that I want to win better, instead of being like, I'm respawning faster. Great. Like, pub players don't need fast respawn talents, basically. Pro players, they abuse that shit, and they do it all the time. But pub players, like, games aren't coordinated enough. So it's just, this is so much better. Makes the game more fun, makes it more fun to get talent trees. A+. Aether Lens, 5 to 6% spell amp, rework the recipe. Let's see what we got. Old, energy booster, ring of health, kind of shitty, basically. And now it is energy booster, Void Stone, which is a mana regen item. Okay, I actually like this a lot. I think this is kind of what the item should have been in the first place, because this is what Aether Lens does, right? It gives you HP regen, but it's on heroes that want more mana pool and want to have increased cast range. Who wants that? Spellcasters. There was a lot of lacking for mana regen items recently, in my opinion. The first hero that shouts out to me is Ogre Magi for this, because I just played Ogre Magi a couple days ago and I did have some mana problems. And he actually needs mana regen more so than a lot of other heroes. An extra mana pool is also not bad. Like, this could be, like, there's the other shitty thing about Aether Lens. It's like, I've got Arcane Boots, I disassemble it, to make an Aether Lens, and now I have no mana regen. All it would do is increase your HP regen, or your HP total, or sorry, your mana total and your HP regen. But now you'd have sustain problems, because an Arcane Boots gives you like, what, 135 mana every 55 seconds or 50 seconds or 45 seconds or whatever it is. That's like a couple mana per second or something. It's like 2 mana per second. You just lose that as soon as you upgrade. So just like, there's no reason to make the item, right? So now you can do Tranquils with an Aether Lens, and you have HP regen and you have MP regen. And obviously this is based on your base int, so you'd still need intelligence for the mana regen to be better, but huge fan of this change. I think this is really good. Could see this picked up a lot more often. Aether Lens is honestly very good on Ogre, potentially, I think. But there's probably better heroes for it, like I'm thinking like Bane or something. Bane trinkles into Aether Lens, maybe Core, who knows. But there's more heroes that I feel like this fits into now. Blade Mail cooldown increased by 2 seconds, which is kind of interesting. So, I don't know, small nerf to heroes like Axe, Legion, I guess, are the main heroes that use it. Blight Stone no longer unique attack modifier. We'll see if this applies to Deso. That would be the crazy thing. This also means you can do Blight Stone with Lifesteal. I think it would be coolest, and my prediction is that they only did this for Blight Stone. If they do it for Deso, that has some huge implications, but this is not as big of a deal because lowering somebody's armor by 2 while lifestealing on them isn't so much that it's going to break the game or anything like that. You're saying it does. Thanks for the spoilers, dicks. Bloodthorn cooldown increase. The item's a little worse. Bottle is reduced by 10. Bracer recipe cost reduced. You can purge clarity, no big deal. This means drum is a little cheaper. That's basically it, right? Just drum. Crimson Guard duration increase. Small buff to this item. It's very underused. Daedalus damage increased just a little bit. This is kind of a lot though, because this is also potentially multiplied by the crit, so it could be okay. Dagon now instantly kills illusions. Really cool change. I like this. Gives some validity to this item. So basically, if you're against the Naga Siren, this is so cool actually. This is basically like fuck Naga Siren right here. If you're a support and you're like, wow, I really want to kill Naga Siren illusions, now you can just get a Dagon and just one-shot them. And that's pretty worth it. It's like 2,700 gold. It's definitely expensive, but if you're trying to deal with split push from illusions, this is fantastic to have. I love that this is in the game now. Very smart choice. Naga's probably going to need a buff, but to be honest, the whole Radiance Manta Octarine shit is kind of overplayed and obnoxious, and I'm kind of sick of it existing, personally. Alright, Demon Edge is cheaper by 200. They did remove Deso unique. I mean, honestly, I also should have seen this coming because of the fact that they were removing almost all unique attack modifiers from the game, so they want them all to be out. That way there's no barrier of knowledge to play the game the way that you want to. This is cheaper, so that's what? Rapier, Daedalus, Monkey King Bar, small damage decrease. With that said, Daedalus did go up, so who knows. Okay, so consequences of Desolator no longer being a unique attack modifier. Deso with Lifesteal is now a build. That means PA is probably pretty happy with this, I would say, because she always wants Desolator, and before she was always forced to buy Vlad's if she wanted Lifesteal or to wait for a level 15 talent. And this is also kind of OP because the amount of lifesteal that you get is based on how much damage you do. So if you lower their armor with a Desolator and then lifesteal from them, you're getting more than you did before. So this is potentially abusable if you go like Deso into Satanic on some heroes, maybe like a Shadow Fiend or something. It could be really good. But we'll see how it plays out, whether or not it's OP or not, because generally it's just, I've just always taken it as dogma that Desolator plus lifesteal is OP, I assume, because of that fact, because it increases the amount of lifesteal you get. So you may find fighting some heroes, it may feel like they have a lot more lifesteal than they should. So we'll see how it plays out. And I'm not going to read chat because you bastards are going to spoil me about Deso something again. Mango is reduced by 10, but it cannot be sold. I don't think this is bad. I mean, I don't even like selling mangoes, to be honest. It doesn't make me happy. It was like, what, 55 gold? It has to be consumed now, but now you can fit more into your build, and maybe this gold change will really help you do something like... I mean, you could do 6 fucking mangoes. You could probably do that before. Yeah, you could. You could do like 5 mangoes and a tango or something. It'd be kind of fun. There's probably some way to do it. But I don't think this is a great trade-off for mango, in my opinion. Faerie Fire reduced by 5. Yeah, that item kind of fell off, actually. People just stopped buying it. Kind of interesting that happened, I guess, but it was used so much in the mid lane, and now it's just such a rare thing to purchase. I think some mids still buy it occasionally, but I've barely seen the item. It hit such a popularity spike and then just stopped. People probably got sick of spending the gold and wasting it for times that they maybe didn't die. Or they just buy wands half the time. Force Staff is being reworked. Now gives you regen. Quite a bit, actually. Okay, so this is technically a buff to Force Staff. This is a big buff to the item, in my opinion. Anytime that an item goes from heavily recipe-based to component-based, that means it's almost always buffed, because it should have more base regen. It should have more base stats. Because if we look at the difference here, the cost is exactly, actually, it went up by 25, very small. But very small cost increase, but now it gives you 2 extra health regen instead of just 6 instead of 4. I guess it's not that much, but I think this is super worth it. It also means that you have more base. The 2 most expensive things aren't the recipe, which is another nice thing, because it always sucked when you're trying to build a Force Staff, where you'd be like, oh, I have to wait for 900 gold to buy this stupid recipe, because it just wasn't worth it to hold a Ring of Regen for 2 HP per second. But holding Staff of Wizardry and a Ring of Health, that seems valuable to me. And again, the heroes that often buy Force Staffs kind of want HP regen, like supports and stuff, so I think this is overall a good change. I'm happy with it. Who knows, maybe we'll see it more definitively on cores late game and feel justified in that way. We'll see if it changes Hurricane Pike. Okay, it does. So Hurricane Pike, small buff. But I think ultimately not the biggest deal. But could be seen as a good thing, depending on the carry. Maybe if you're playing like a sniper or a Drow Ranger without lifesteal, then you feel better about this. Which I think is safe to say. Those heroes kind of need a little bit of regen. Hand of Midas is nerfed. I saw that a little. Well, it looks like slightly buffed. Nerfed? Changed? I saw the recipe difference in a replay I was watching. So cost goes up by 100, but the experience multiplier goes up just a little bit. Keep in mind it used to be 2.5, so it goes from 1.75 now 2.5 to 1.75 to 1.85, and the gold bonus gets reduced a little bit, which I think is ultimately fine. But overall, a pretty big nerf to the item, I would say, because it loses basically 10% less gold, and it gains 5% more experience, and the recipe goes up. The item itself goes up by 10% cost. So cost goes up by 10%, gold gain goes down by 10%, and the experience goes up by like 5%. So another nerf to the item. I felt like it was a little overbuilt in the group stage of Kiev, but right towards the end of Kiev, people stopped building, and the teams that were doing really well just didn't buy it at all. Except for like on core heroes, like, if you're playing, what's an example? Abaddon offlane. They didn't even always buy that. It's more like Invoker, you always buy it, obviously. Things like that. Healing Self buff is now purgeable. How is this useful? Is it just consistency reasons? I feel like it's just so. I guess I have to put it in there. It's not. I can't think of any ways that it's relevant where you're not dealing damage. Like, how often do you purge the enemy team but you don't also kill them? Or like Tornado purges, right? But it's also going to damage them, so it'd break the salve anyways. Maybe I don't know. Purge creeps. Purge creep buff. You can purge with the Fizzle. You guys are just you're just shit posting right now. Okay, you're right. You can use the small satyr after purchasing a Helm of the Dominator. Run mid and disable a healing salve. You are so right, guys. You'll it's like all those cases do damage. Heart of Tarasque now requires a second vitality booster. Small. So basically, okay. So that means that it goes down in cost by 300. Heart is 300 gold cheaper. It gives you 5 less strength, which is 100 HP. But the health bonus gets increased by 250. So that means it gives you 150 more HP, and it costs you 300 gold less. So, but if you're a strength carry, it's a little bit worse. But for most heroes, it's not a big deal. For Centaur, I don't think he cares about 5 strength difference when he's getting more and it costs less. I would say the same for Bristleback. Very, very inconsequential. But small buff to heart. Heaven's Halberd can no longer be dispelled by spell immunity. This is pretty strong. That means if you initiate with Heaven's Halberd, it's going to last for the duration. And it's best as an item against ranged heroes. I think it lasts for 5 seconds. So this item is starting to become real strong. Because if you just initiate and use that on somebody, they can't BKB out of it. They legit can't attack for 5 seconds. This item's getting so good. Helm of the Dominator now uses a Ring of Health instead of an 800 gold recipe. And the health regen is buffed by 2. It's okay. It's okay. What is it? Gloves of Haste. What's the other item that goes into it? I can't remember. Wasn't it just like Gloves of Haste in a recipe or some shit before? I actually can't remember. You can buy heart outside of base. That's a good point. Because it's just what Reaver and 2-bit boosters. Headdress, that's right. Headdress, Gloves of Haste, and Ring of Health. So you don't have to buy it from the... You basically just have to bring yourself a headdress, and then you can buy everything from the side shop now for Helm of the Dominator. Which helps get it out earlier. I mean, this is certainly a lot of regen. I think this could be argued as very, very effective for lineups that teamfight a lot or push a lot, because you're giving 10 HP per second to your whole team. That's potentially abusable. So I guess the way to explain it is just Helm of the Dominator is still not the same item as a carry, but we may be seeing it be pushed more and more towards a support-ish item, which was what I first theory crafted when we saw Helm of the Dominator introduced. I theory crafted supports, but I was off there. It was used heavily as a core item, obviously, because it had like 6 to all stats. It was just super efficient, right? But now it's getting to the point, like 10 HP per second is a shitload. Like you could play Undying, get a Helm of the Dominator, so you can push lanes better and farm better, and then get that perk at 10, and you get 25 HP per second. Like that's actually insane how much that is. I think that this item being used on supports, I'm gonna try it a little bit more, because this is getting to be like an actual disgusting amount of HP regen to you and your allies. Really does help. 10 seconds they're alive, they get 100 extra HP. That's amazing. Mask of Madness, a little surprised to see it change, because I was personally feeling like it was getting strong, but Quarterstaff instead of a 700 gold recipe, that's a 850 gold item, I think. Provides 20 damage and 10 attack speed, naturally. And it got buffed a little bit. Berserk active, attack speed bonus reduced. Okay, so nerfed in attack speed. No, it's actually the same. So it gets 5 more damage, I believe. I think it went from 15 to 20 now. It gives 10 base attack speed, because that is a quarterstaff. And then the active is reduced by 10. So it has slightly better active, or when it's just sitting, slightly better. But the cost does go up by quite a bit, actually, because quarterstaff is 850, I think. So 850 here, 150 more gold, slightly better, and 5 damage. So it's a little bit worse. Dissemble is also potentially good, because it's Mask of Death plus quarterstaff. So this could mean you could make a Mask of Madness, but then turn the Mask of Madness later into a Echo Saber. You could turn it into a Orchid, which is potentially definitely very viable for a lot of heroes. And also you could turn it later into a Satanic. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, cost over here. I didn't see this. Morbid Mask goes down by 100, and the bonus damage is reduced by 5. So that means ultimately it is only 50 gold more expensive, which is not terrible. So 50 gold more expensive Mask of Madness. For these bonuses, super worth it. For basically 5 damage and 10 attack speed, that's always up. Not bad. I do think this item's pretty good, though. Morbid Mask can also make Vlad's Satanic, I think, is the only 2 things, and Mask of Madness. So, unless there's something new. So, ultimately, a good choice, I think. Maybe some more heroes will just do it for the late game Satanic, or something like that. You can also build it from the side shop, which is good. Somebody in chat wrote Deso plus Mask of Madness. It's definitely a good potential. The only downside is then you're really squishy, because you'd have no HP, but there's probably a hero that's good on. Maybe like Sniper. Sniper, Deso, Mask of Madness could work really well. 100%. Maybe something like Razor, but he would be really low HP in that kind of a build. Perhaps. Solar Crest, reduced from 12 to 10. That needed to happen. The item was really overbuilt. On enemies, changed from 25 miss chance on target to 25% true strike chance on attackers. I saw Nahaz tweet about this, at least talking about the true strike chance on attackers, and I like this as a change. The problem with Solar Crest and the way it was designed before, it made a lot of sense with Medallion, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm giving them 7 armor, or they're losing 7 armor. Makes sense, right? But when you use it offensively on opponents, you mostly use it for the minus armor. So to also give them miss chance was just kind of stupid, because it's like, I want to kill them. I don't actually want them to miss attacking me, because if they're attacking me, I'd rather have the Solar Crest to have 12 armor and 25% evasion. That's better. Because if you used it before, it was like half offensive, half defensive, which didn't make sense. Now it's all offensive. Lowers their armor, and it means that if they have evasion, 25% of that is nullified. So if they have 25% evasion, that means probably means that you will hit 25% of the time, no matter what. Which means if we do that percentage, we can open the calculator quick. We can look at it as, here's your evasion percentage, and then we can multiply that by 0.25 as well. So it decreases your evasion if you have 25% by 6.25%, which is not a shitload, but it's enough that it can make a difference sometimes. And it also just makes the item make more sense. You don't just buy Solar Crest because it's value and it gives you a shitload of armor. You're going to buy it now because somebody might have a butterfly, or maybe your opponents are using Solar Crest on them while they have a butterfly. Like Solar Crest could really add up to be really effective. Or if somebody's playing Troll Warlord and doing axe spins, or if somebody's playing Ricky Maru, Solar Crest is going to be really good against Ricky now, if you're trying to kill him through the evasion. There's a lot of potentially useful things for the change here. It gives True Strike to your allies when you put it on them. No, it does not. If you use it, like, all they're changing is the on enemies. So this is if you use it on enemies, and it's changed from 25% mischance, which is what it was before. It makes somebody miss more often if you cast it on them. Now, for attackers, it gives them 25% true strike chance. I have it correct. You're wrong, all caps person. RIP PA, not really RIP PA. I mean, it is better, but if you think about how much it's going to affect PA, let's say she has level 4 evasion, which is 0.5%, half, you miss half the attacks, then we'll multiply that by 0.25. She's losing 12.5% evasion, which is not that bad. That means she's still 37.5% evasion. It's not that much, but it's enough. But it makes the item better. Legit makes it better because it makes the debuff consistent. You're trying to reduce their armor and you're reducing their evasion, rather than what I said before: half offense, half defense. Better. It's a good change. This is kind of significant, but the item was OP and everybody built it, so kind of makes sense. Moonshard now gives half of the bonus night vision. I'm actually so happy about this because it was such a cool aspect of the item that just simply never got used. Like if you hold a Moonshard, it gives you night vision bonus, and it was something like, I don't know, 150, 200, just kind of a shitload. But now if you actually consume it, you can still see a little bit better, but it only gives you half. I think that was a good way to change the item. Tiny buff to Puck. This could be value on a lot of ranged heroes that are chasing at nighttime, but I don't think it's going to change the game in a big way. Like it could be seen as a buff to teams that are winning for sure, or teams like Alchemist, or teams that have one hero that has insane net worth, because now giving himself Moonshards and others is slightly better. So that's maybe the only balanced way I'd see it, but I like that they added this in. 5 more seconds for Necro Summoning. Observers drop by 5, allows for different starting item combinations. It's kind of cool. See how that works out with like mangoes and stuff. It may make a big difference. Radiance damage on illusions further reduced. I totally forgot about this at some point. I think during the last patch maybe I mentioned that Radiance should do less damage from illusions. I totally forgot that it had already happened, because they used to actually break raindrops, but with that patch change they didn't break raindrops anymore. So Radiance does, I think, 65 on your hero. Is that right? Was it 60? Might be 60. It's either 65 or 60, I think. Can't remember. But now 35 illusions is actually getting pretty low. Pretty low. Still value, but worse at split pushing. It'll take you at least like 10 to 12 seconds for the illusions to kill creep waves. Refresh now replenishes charge-based abilities. Okay, that's really cool. It's a nice change. What's a good example of this? Death Prophet is probably the best. For Soul Siphons, you can get back. Sniper, you could get up to 8 shrapnel charges, which would be pretty fun. If you get the perk, that is. What's another example? Oh, it could be really good for some of those heroes that get extra charges. Refresher, level 25 gyrocopter. You could shoot 6 homing missiles, literally 6 missiles. AA could have 6 charges of Cold Feet, which is amazing. You're right about Rupture on Bloodseeker. You could have 4 Bloodseeker Ruptures. I really like this. Is a cool change. This item is definitely underbuilt. It's pretty much only good with heroes that have really long cooldown ultimates. That's pretty much it. Nobody else is good on. Anybody that has like smallish abilities, but now charge-based things, you could be even better. You could do the same with Ember Spirit. Do like 6 remnants with Refresher. I don't think we'll ever see somebody do that, but it would be pretty funny. It would also give them opportunities, like maybe in a super late game scenario they need 3 remnants instantly. Who knows? Like, oh, we're losing the base. They're not going to expect me to buy a refresh orb and get an extra 3 remnants and do an extra 600 AoE. Ooh, Shadow Demon, that's a great one. Shadow Demon Eggs would give you 6 ultimates, and I believe they do like 800 magic damage or something incredible. But the problem is getting Shadow Demon late game with that much farm is pretty much impossible. But we will see the meme videos 100%. Maybe I'll play him again. We'll see if when we get to his buffs. Hopefully he gets buffs. Reworked Rod of Atos recipe. Very value item. Let's see what it is now. 2 Bracer. Staff of Wizardry. Ooh. Okay, so it still does this. It still does the same active, which is a 2-second root on a 16-second cooldown, I believe. But now it takes 2 bracers, a staff, and a recipe. So the buildup is basically easy. If you're having a shit game, you just buy bracers, and you get a staff, and you get a recipe. Pretty easy buildup. And you get 20 intelligence, 15 strength, 6 agility, 6 damage. And this is a 3,080 gold item, which is very close in cost. Versus before 30 int, which was like 30 times 12 was a shitload of mana. 360 mana, 360 health is what it used to give you, and it gave you like, what, 2.5 spell int percentage. But now it gives you 20, which is still pretty good. That's like 20 times the new 11. So now it gives you 220 mana, which is not bad. It gives you 300 HP, which is about what it did before. But it also gives you 6 agility, which is about 1 armor, and 6 damage. So for int heroes, it's 26 damage. For strength heroes, it is 21 damage. Basically lets any hero buy this except for agility heroes, maybe. Which is kind of cool. Cool change. And if you're a strength hero buying it, for the disable, it lets you actually profit from it. Whereas before, basically if you weren't an int hero, you don't want to buy Atos, pretty much. Because you like the health is good, the int can be useful, but there's not a lot of cases. I mean, it's basically just int heroes, right, that would bother buying this. So I think this is a good way to fix the item. Basically, give it generic stats, that way it fits into more item builds. We still won't see it as an agi hero, most likely. But certainly there's going to be some strength heroes. Thinking about it now. And maybe someday it'll also include agi, who knows. But there's got to be a hero out here that out in the game that can use this effectively. 6 attack speed. It's not too bad. I don't know, maybe like AAs or something will build it more often. Double Bracer AA, is that the new build? Bristleback? I don't think I would get it on Bristle, probably. It's okay, but not sure. Do you guys have any other Sven Rod of Atos? Maybe. Probably not. Pudge Rod of Atos. Oh, I like the Pudge idea. That's cool, because then you can guarantee a hook, more or less, if you root them. I like that idea. The Pudge one's cool. Tusk Rod of Atos. Nope, you wouldn't bother with that, I don't think. Puck doesn't care. Undyne could buy it before, I think, but it's better for him now for sure. Definitely a lot better. Underlord. Why is it special on Underlord? It's okay. Fits well with Kunkka. Oh, I like that idea too. Definitely potentially good on Kunkka. Although I would argue that the stats are a little bit shit. Like, I don't know, they're not that great. It's like, what, 15 damage, 6 agility, 1 armor. Like, you don't really need damage on Kunkka. Like, yeah, it gives you a setup, but it could work. It certainly could work. I just don't know. Definitely not heroes like Lion. You guys are going too far, but Phoenix, pretty good, yeah. But not amazing. Leshrac, yeah. Leshrac 100%, I would say. I guess it doesn't... Technically, it's maybe a little worse on Leshrac than it used to be, because it doesn't give us as much int, but it does give you HP regen. That's right, because that matters twice as much now. What is it? 15 times... God, what is the number? 0.06? That's a whole 1 HP per second right here. That's 1 HP per second regen, guys. Let's divide that by... So if you have an item that gives you 16.6 strength, that is 1 HP per second, is the number now that we can think of. So every 16.6 HP, you get 1 HP per second. So it gives you 0.9. There's definitely some potentially good things about it. Definitely a lot of heroes it could work on. Decent on CM. I wouldn't buy it. No, you don't buy it on CM 100%, because you need more active disables, I would say, on CM. Like, you need harder stuns. You don't want more roots. You want something different. Zaya bought it on Venge. He's probably just trying things out, I would assume, but it's probably not bad on that hero by any means. It's in some ways negative because its agility is the agi is really low, but I guess technically Avenge doesn't really need much else. But I mean, we haven't seen what Venge's changes are, but definitely a lot of potential for buying Atos. But I feel like it's going to be very situational who buys it, and there's going to be a lot of people trying it out, but maybe feeling it's not that great just yet. Would I build on Our-Old Devourer? You certainly could, but I think nobody buys nobody buys Atos on OD right now, and in some ways it was better before. Anti-mage, God no, God no. Agility heroes probably not, unless you're a support edgy. All right, Sange reduced by 100, Yasha reduced by 100, attack speed reduced by 5. Interesting choice. Manta Style increased by 100, so that means negated, basically same cost here, but SNY is 200 cheaper, I assume, because SNY doesn't take anything else. So SNY is now a 3950 gold item or something, 3900 gold item. In a lot of ways, it's better than Manta by far, because Manta is like 5k. Manta's really expensive. SNY is a lot cheaper. Obviously, illusions are OP, stuff like that. Scythe of Vyse cooldown reduced by 3. Shiva's guard recipe increased by 50. Silver Edge nerfed again. This item's just honestly so good in a lot of ways. I've been kind of a shit talker, but people are buy it at the right time now, more than they used to. They used to oftentimes buy too early or rush it and get nothing else, but I think people pros especially, are buying it at the right time pretty consistently. Gives you 15 to all stats. The break is really good. Stops passives, pretty cool. Soul Ring now requires a mango. Oh, that's adorable. That means that Slacks will always start with a mango every single game. And that's a buff to Soul Ring as well, because now it costs you 50 gold less, because a mango's now 100. I don't think there's ever going to be a day in Slacks' life where he doesn't start with a mango now. But, you know, I don't hate this, because if Slacks starts with a Soul Ring recipe, aka a mango, I can't even blame him. I'm like, well, at least you're not rushing fucking Soul Ring like he is, but it's better until he finishes it, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I agree with you. What's her name? Shank? Slacks 6k MMR incoming, basically because of this. It's over, guys. Urn of Shadows, and we're just getting heroes. Urn of Shadows now acts as proper regeneration like Salve rather than healing at frequent interval ticks, which basically means it should heal every fraction of a second rather than just like every quarter second or something. Because Salve is like just slowly goes up, whereas Urn was like dot 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 dot, I think. All right, old. 2 gauntlets, Sage's Mask now. Okay, it takes a raindrop. Interesting. Very cool. Raindrop, circlet, ring of protection. Ah, I love this. An armor item, thank God. This was one of my biggest complaints recently, was that there are almost no low armor items in the whole game for supports. Like, they just don't exist. There's no armor items. It's like, all right, you either have to buy, because you can't, Tranquils don't do it anymore, right? So you either buy Medallion, or you buy Blade Mail, or you buy Mech / Buckler, but you don't want to just buy a Buckler. Most of the time it's kind of stupid. So it's like Medallion, Blade Mail, Veil. There just weren't that many armor options. Or you buy Plate Mail and make something big, but you don't always want to commit to something big. This is amazing though. Like Ring of Protection is just super underused on the previous patch. It's like basey or bust. Like, and no support's gonna want to buy a Ring of Basilius because it's just item slot expensive. So yeah, Urn is a really good item. It was really good here. Let's see double check the differences. So it gives you less HP, 2 to all stats, but 2 armor is honestly not bad, and it gives you raw regen instead of a percentage, which is kind of interesting. The other cool part is that this raindrop, it doesn't matter what charge it's at. So if your raindrop is at 1 charge, what you should probably do is take it out of your inventory and put it in your backpack if you plan to make an Urn. Because that would be the most value you could get out of it. But you got to pay attention not lose it, because then you'd have to rebuy it, which is actually pretty expensive. So total cost is actually exactly the same, but if before you would buy raindrops, it's technically 275 cheaper now, so you could in some ways look at this as a 600 gold item. Circlet, Ring of Protection, and Recipe, that's just so cheap. The stats that it gives you is what? 4 less strength, which is 80 HP. So it's definitely a lot less HP, and the mana regen part I would argue is worse by far. Because this is only better if you have 2 base mana regen, or more, then old Urn is better. Certainly early game this is far better. One per second is quite a lot. But and I definitely will buy this. Certainly. 2 armor is not to be looked down upon over the course of a full game. I'll definitely try this out. So like I said, it is technically cheaper if you ever bought raindrops. So cool changes. Good on heroes like Shaker with really bad int. No, I wouldn't buy an Earthshaker. It doesn't fit his playstyle. Earthshaker is not a ganking hero. Like, you buy Urn on heroes that gank. Like, yes, technically it's good on heroes like Earthshaker that have low int, but it's good on, like, Ogre, for example. Ogre's int gain is really shit right now, for example. So maybe I'd get it on him. 2 armor to make his super high HP better, for example. Alright, let's move on. Unstable Concoction cooldown increase. So this is his stun. It is worse. The AoE is better. Gravel's Greed base bonus gold reduced down to 4 at all levels. The bonus per stack goes up, and the bonus cap rescaled. So the cap starts higher, ends lower, and the bonus per stack increased, which basically means if you farm more base bonus gold, bonus cap, what is the difference? So this is just like if you get one last hit, you would get 6 to 12 gold. Is this just like no matter what last hit you got, you would get an extra 12 no matter what? Is that how that worked? Now it's only 4. So it would do this plus the stacking? Is that how it worked before? So you could get up to what? I don't know exactly how this works, unfortunately. I don't know enough about how Gravel's Greed operates. So I can't really answer, but I'm sure it's a nerf. This is certainly a nerf to the hero. Makes his early mid-game teamfights worse. It also kind of hurts him as a support, which kind of sucks. But Gravel's Greed bonus cap rescaled. It's a lower number. It's a lower number. Surely got nerfed. And I doubt this offsets it. I just assume it's a nerf. Ancient Apparition attack range increased by 75. Ice Vortex movement modifier has a positive effect on Ancient Apparition. Ooh, that's cool. That's really cool. So if he runs through an Ice Vortex, he actually runs faster now. That's really sick. Keep in mind, he also has a movement speed perk at 20, I believe. I think 20. So that would be further amplified by the Vortex movement speed difference. So A's might be really hard to kill just due to the nature of them running faster, which also could benefit them having lower cooldown on the Ice Vortex. And also, here's another slow increase, which would naturally be another 8% movement speed for him. Kind of a cool change. I like this. I don't think it'll change A's playability, personally, but it might a little. He'll be harder to kill in games, that's for sure. May put a lot of credence. Like, if I'm playing A now, I honestly think I max Vortex really early now. Like, second for sure. In the past, I would delay it a little bit, usually, but I don't think I'd want to put it off anymore, because 30% movement speed advantage for you and 30% slow for them is too much to pass up if somebody's diving you in the back line. Especially against, like, tanky heroes like that are easier to kite. Rework Scepter on Axe causes Battle Hunger to reduce enemy damage output by 30%. Applies Battle Hunger on enemy heroes within a 700 AoE after casting a successful Culling Blade. Causes Battle Hunger. Okay, so if you just cast Battle Hunger, their damage output goes down by 30. And if you actually ulti somebody, you get a Battle Hunger on literally everybody, which is God tier and super late game axe, actually, if you get a Culling Blade. Because it does like 140 damage per second. And it also makes axe run faster, which is another part, because every Battle Hungry that you cast makes him run a little bit faster. So this is going to be exciting, fun to see. Would also give him some kind of cool like team fight output late game solutions, because right now axes just build so much towards like all I need is like all they ever need is blink call with blade mail and blacking bar, maybe a 4 staff. It was just kind of one dimensional, but this is kind of a cool change. Yeah, he does have a DPS talent for his Battle Hunger. It's cool. It's at 25, I think. Bane reworked Bane Scepter. That kind of needed to happen. It just wasn't viable. Like, people are just going to stun you most of the time. Cause the Brain Sap to have a 1.5 second cooldown. Ooh. Ooh, that's good. That's so good. Bane Core? He doesn't have AoE, so he can't be like a mid hero, but maybe offlane? Honestly, Bane offlane, guys? This is so cool. 1.5 second cooldown is like God tier low. That's 300 pure damage every 1.5 seconds, and it pierces spell immunity, and it heals him for 300. That skill is really good. Brain Sap is really good, guys. Also, this is a ability draft buff. There's another Ag's ability that isn't an ultimate. So it's a new... This is so low. It's kind of mana expensive, isn't it? What is it? I can't remember. It's very low. It's like 70 mana base, but maybe it only goes up to like 150 or something. Can't remember. 130. I like Bane a lot. This is a cool change. Bane Ags before just wasn't realistic. His Agi and Int growth increased by 0.3. Oh, that's right, because all of his stats are supposed to be the same. So this is kind of a nice little buff. Very, very small attack speed armor. Very small base damage mana pool. Nice changes. I like this a lot as well, because if Fiend's Grip was kind of stupid before, it's like chunk. It would do 5 chunks. But now it does 10 chunks. So that means it can break through Refraction a lot easier, actually. Arguably, it's a lot better as a skill because of it against heroes like TA. So now you can break through Refraction in 2.5 seconds instead of like potentially wasting your whole Fiend's Grip. It's cool. And also gives you the ability to interrupt things like Bottle. I mean, I guess there's not that many heal types that somebody would cast. You wouldn't like bottle somebody that's being Fiend's Gripped. So I guess mostly against Refraction, I guess, is the way that it's best. Cool. Beastmaster Wild Axe cast range goes up. The mana cost rescaled to be better at low levels. Small buff there. Replace respawn talent. Yeah, read about this one already. Bloodseeker Bloodright cooldown. At all levels, that's the AoE silence. It is a little bit faster. And I believe he has a perk to make the cooldown even further. So I can't remember how small this will go. It's cast point reduced on it as well. This is a pretty long cast point, by the way. It's like actually really long. Most people's cast points are around like 0.1 to 0.2 seconds in a lot of cases. Fix this, interrupting the chain if one of the targets is spell immune. Okay, didn't know. Basically no buff. Drunken Haze cast point reduced. Drunken Haze duration upped. Hurl Boulder cast point reduced. Drunken Brawler crit increased. And respawn talent is now 22-second Thunderclap slow. So that means that it will... Okay, just slow. Like movement speed and attack speed. It's pretty good. I think it must last for like, what, 3 seconds or something? 4 seconds? Don't remember. But this is potentially very, very good. Small buffs there. We already saw this one. This could be really, really effective. It's basically like you don't have to get an Octarine Core anymore. You could just get this. That was, in my opinion, this is a lot of the way that Bristleback was. That's like the main reason that Octarine Core was good on Bristle. The cooldown reduction was nice to put your Quill down to 2.25, but this is way better, the lifesteal aspect. So this means that you will take little damage from the back. But if you do take a lot of damage from the back, you will lifesteal it back using your Quill Spray. So there will be probably a lot more Bristles that actually actively try to get their opponents to fight them. That way they can just lifesteal a lot and do a lot of Quill damage. And there's also a perk at 25 that increases the Quill stack damage you do. So this plus that could allow Bristles to be more of a tanky Bristle while actually impacting the game, rather than just a right-click combo Bristle. Because it's hard to get people to actually right-click you or cast spells on you as Bristle. So going like the Blade Mail route kind of works some games, but most games it doesn't. So I actually really like this addition. Because actually buying the Octarine just didn't fit the hero. It's way too expensive. It's like a 6,000 gold item or something. It's like 5,700 gold item just for a little bit more raw HP as well as a spell lifesteal and cooldown. It wasn't very worth it, but this is super value. And again, the other choice is it's like 40 attack speed or something, which is a big difference. 40 attack speed is really good on Bristle, but any game that you're having a bad time, I think the spell lifesteal is probably what you're going to get, as long as they don't have silver edges. Chaos Knight still needs fixes. Reality Rift cast point reduced. This cast animation was way too long. I like that. This really needed to happen. The first cooldown was just ungodly bad. This is already a huge change, honestly. Just a few skill points and the cooldown is reasonable. I like this. This needed to happen eons ago. Chaos Strike lifesteal goes up a little, and Phantasm illusion damage taken. Okay, so this makes the illusions a little worse. This is honestly almost a nerf to the hero. It's kind of a nerf to the hero, in my opinion. I mean, I guess this is good, but... And this definitely helps in his laning stage. But late game wise, I don't feel like this makes him any better. I mean, I guess he doesn't technically need late game advantage because he's already real strong. And if this is kind of a buff to like... He's a little bit... Basically, he's better. He's worse against heroes. He's definitely worse against heroes that have AoE. But he's also worse against heroes that don't have AoE, which kind of makes Chaos Knight not so much like a hard counter and might just be more countered and playable in more situations, perhaps just because of this. But I don't know if these are enough buffs. I mean, this is pretty significant actually, if you think about it. Give your opponents less time to react to you casting Reality Rift, but I have a feeling he's still bad because we've already seen all the item changes. Maybe there's some item that'll fix him, like Atos or something weird like that, but probably not Atos. But I think Chaos Knight's probably still bad, I would assume. Maybe not, though. Mask of Madness Chaos Knight? Yeah, you could actually do that. It would only work on your main hero. That's actually super viable, potentially. Is that the new build? Chaos Knight, Mask of Madness with an armlet? That could actually work, 100%. You ulti, you Reality Rift, you stun, and then you just attack really fast. Could work. And you could disassemble later for Satanic. And Echo Saber, I guess. I'll try it. Halberd CK, yeah, that got buffed as well. SNY got buffed. Yeah, you guys are, I don't like SNY CK too much. I'd probably go Manta, but maybe if it's that much cheaper, you get it. Kind of hard to say. Yeah, there's enough item changes. Maybe Chaos Knight is worth it. There's definitely going to be a lot of Mask of Menaces, yeah, but maybe not that much. It's like it was barely buffed. It's just that was like please guys, try Mask of Madness more. It's honestly a good item, and that's how I feel about it too. Holy Persuasion cooldown is reduced. That is your third skill. That's good. That means you can basically clean up the jungle faster. Keep in mind that neutral creeps give less experience than they used to, and they respawn at every minute. So this is a nice change to Chen. He got huge buffs to when he feeds, which is good. And then there's the respawn talent here for creep health. This is super value, super value. Klink's Death Pack cooldown increased. Okay, I actually love this change for Klink's here. Well, it's kind of bad, but it's so good also. Basically, you can't just like ulti creeps all the fucking like. All right, this is Klink's problem, right? His ultimate had such a low cooldown that pretty much you need a Soul Ring or some major fucking mana to guarantee that he's got a mana pool, so that he can actually cast his ult. He would kill neutral creeps, it would increase his damage, and increase his HP pool. But you'd have to recast it like all the time because the duration was like 30 seconds or something like that. So you just have to cast Death Pact all the time. It's like 150 mana or 100 mana or something every 30 seconds, just always casting on big neutrals. So basically you have this like tiny windows to do things where you actually have HP and mana, where you'd have to like kill a neutral so that you could gank somebody and have higher chance of killing them. Now the cooldown going to 85 is kind of crazy because it's really long. 85 is insane. It's so long. But now you don't have to buy a fucking Soul Ring every game, so that kind of saves you 800 gold. And the other problem is his perks at 10 are just shit. It's like 12 int or the other one's 10% magic resistance, which I think is the perk to get the 10% magic, maybe. The duration does go up as well. Oh yeah, here's the duration. It was 35. But the duration now is 65 out of 85, which is still pretty good uptime, but at least it's more cyclical. Like you kind of know when it's down and when it's up. Whereas the other one, it would just last for such short durations that half the time you just have to use it on a shitty creep. But now you can actually be like, hey, I want to use this, and I know that I have 65 seconds where I'm as strong as I can ever be, which I think is an overall good change, and it makes him less mana reliant. So now you don't necessarily have to buy a Soul Ring as often, if at all. You could probably get by without it. Tread switching. With that said, Chen in letters is right next to Klink's, which is kind of cool. Unless they cheated on us. They didn't, actually. Now you can have a creep that has 2,000 on 100 HP or something like that, and Klink's can use Death Pact on it. So Klink's Chen strats are coming back, guys. Maybe. Getting to 20 on Chen is kind of hard. Clockwork replaced respawn talent with plus 40 battery assault damage. I think the 25 also increases the battery assault duration, so this is a shitload of damage. And it does 75 at level 4, so that's like 115 magic damage per tick, which I think it's like every 0.4 seconds or something. This is potentially a ridiculous amount of damage over the course. And honestly, it's pretty possible to get. I think it's about time that I pull open a Dota buff tab. 1 second. My dog is having a dream. And she's leaning on her back too. She's Taking very deep breaths. It's pretty adorable. Oh, that woke her up. It's okay. It's okay. That was a fake dog. The dog wasn't real. What am I looking at? Clockwork. Oh yeah, did you like my ogre build? It was core ogre. It's pretty fun. Plus 40 respawn. So 10 duration, 40 battery assaults. I could see a lot of clocks getting that. Okay, Crystal Maiden, Freezing Field cooldown. I think she actually needed this nerf. Freezing Field got a little bit overbuffed. It was just super value. At least now the cooldown is a little bit worse. Fixed Scepter, Freezing Field, not interrupting targets. Probably when the Frostbite hits them. Which this could become really good as a result. We'll see. We won't see it often, but when it does happen, it might feel really obnoxious to play against. Replace Respawn Talent with plus 50 Freezing Field damage at level 20. Which is good, because this makes the choice even easier. I almost always get the GPM myself. 50 is pretty good, though. Because it does, like, what, 100... Yeah, 105, 170, 250. It's like... It's not like getting an extra point in the ult, but... It's kind of good. God, talent trees look so much better now that they don't have stupid respawn talents. Thank God. Darkseer, Wall of Replica, slow, rescaled, small Darkseer nerfs. He was actually quite effective at Kiev when picked. Dazzle, rework Dazzle Scepter. That's good. Causes Shallowgrave to be a 450 AoE spell. Ooh, that's cool. Ooh, that's really cool. Honestly, this is pretty value. I really like this, because it basically makes Dazzle a better hero to potentially pick against certain lineups. Because now if they have all AoE disable, like Magnus RPs and shit, grave your whole team. Maybe it doesn't work, but now you don't have to be like, do I grave this guy? Do I grave this guy? Do I grave this guy? It's cool. It gives you an option. It's still 4,000 gold to buy the Ags, but it actually gives you an option that you can choose to use. Do you guys hear that beep every time, or is that just in my ears? I'm not sure. It's probably just in my ears. That would make the most sense. But this is cool. And then obviously the Poison Touch DPS talent as well, which is pretty cool. How much damage does it do again? It's like 30 something, 36. So that could be 76 damage per second for 10 seconds. That's actually a shitload. That's 700 physical damage, which genuinely, especially with the Poison Touch cooldown of 25, like Dazzle Core or late game Dazzle, that's pretty value. Like potentially some really serious damage, like some actually really serious damage. Goes down to 1 second cooldown, just throw those out. 700 physical damage with a stun. Not bad. I would definitely get that over 25 moves. Wait, why does it say 25? I thought it was 40. Oh, I'm crazy. Okay, I'm way off. 25 Poison Touch. My bad, I thought it was 40. Why did I think 40? Alright, 25 plus 35 is 71. 61? 56 plus 5, 61. So it does 610 physical damage. Still very good, especially with the minus armor from Weave. Not quite the same. But a nice change. I think Dazzle's been a little bit bad for a while. I guess his win rate's actually super good at 5k apparently. But, interesting change. Core Dazzle, someday I'll do it. And you can get Mask of Madness and Death on the hero now. It's totally worth it. Disruptor replaced respawn talent. Saw this already. Pretty good. Every Thunderstrike hits what? 4 times? So that's like 160 more magic damage when you use Thunderstrike. Potentially worth skilling. I think the other one is like Kinetic Field, if I'm not mistaken. Kinetic Field cooldown is 3. Yeah. I think most people will get the Thunderstrike damage, but it kind of depends what you're doing. And there's a spell up at 20. Like, you could genuinely be nuking Disruptor now. Thunderstrike damage at 15. 10% spell up at 20. 4 Thunderstrike hits at 25. E-Blade Dagon Disruptor, guys. That's probably not good, though. It looks fun, though. Doom Scorched Earth healing and damage rescaled, so it's better at level 1. Which may mean like you don't necessarily have to max this first if you don't want to. Devour Mana cost rescaled. I like this as well. This is a nice change. Basically gives you the ability to skimp on skill points if you want to. Remove Critical Strike from the Small Wolves in the Jungle Attack damage increased by the same amount. Okay. That's good. I'm actually glad they did this. There's a lot of stuff like this that's just obnoxious. Because the small alpha wolves would crit, which means if you would eat them as Doom, you would still get the same crit ability that you get from the large alpha wolf, but you lose the aura, which is the bigger part. Obviously, you want both, but so now you can actually eat the small ones if you want to. It's not another camp that you just can't eat, which is a nice change. It's kind of irrelevant. Like, it's very small, honestly. Very, very small. Other than that, yeah, overall good changes. This does almost nothing to affect the hero, in my opinion. And just buffs all around, pretty much. So, stronger at early levels as well is the other thing. Less mana spent, more value. It's pretty good. Elder Dragon form, Frost attack slow increased. So, small buff there. Frost arrows are no longer unique attack modifier. So, that means basically everything at some point is not going to be a unique attack modifier. Are there any orbs that are left? Basically just, no, impetus works, I believe. There's like very few things, very few heroes now. So this means you can buy Lifesteal on Drow Ranger without any worries. You can't do Mask of Madness on Drow because it would silence you, which prevents you from Frost Arrowing. But you can buy like Satanic. You can buy Deso Drow Ranger to siege a little bit easier. Why is everybody saying AM Mana Burn? AM Mana Burn, yeah, is a unique. That's a good point. I think that's what you're talking about. Drow Deso is definitely a possibility. I wouldn't necessarily say it's amazing. It's kind of good. Against certain drafts, it could be really good. Like against... This is best for... What's kind of cool about this is that Drow Ranger is good at killing spellcasters because she silences them and wants to kill them. Those heroes... Minus armor is really good against because those heroes usually have low HP, low armor. So if you silence them and you have minus armor, Drow Ranger could easily kill them. So that part is really cool because Drow's item build is like very one-dimensional right now, unfortunately. They always buy like Hurricane Pike and Silver Edge, and that's about it. It's really, really fucking boring. Might be better this way. Yeah, we already saw this. You can grip them at level 20 now. It doesn't say what level it is. They have made a mistake. Valve, you messed up. Earthshaker Enchant Totem has True Strike. Okay, I like that. That means that it won't miss. And this is the Fissure range instead of the Respawn talent. And I just want to double check what the other one was because I couldn't remember. Alright, I was right. It was the Echo damage. 350 Fissure range. What is the range? 1400. That's pretty far. Just play Earthshaker and Wind Ranger all the time now. Just kill people from super far away. Elder Titan, Astral Spirit, hero bonus damage increase. So quite a bit better late game. Tiny bit better early. That's based on heroes, not creeps. And Earth Spirit radius increased and respawn talent changed. What is his other one? I think it's like HP or something like that. Strength? 10 strength or 200 mana. The mana's not bad. Very often you'll get like Soul Ring on this hero. And you really do need mana to cast your skills a lot. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of Elder Titan right now. I kind of want him to be a core, but I don't think it'll ever happen again. It's like too hard to balance in some ways, but I'm glad they changed this. Gives you options at least in builds. Chantress buffed again, based by 2. Chant slow duration. Oh, okay, so this is actually... Wait. Oh, the duration, okay. But the slow is heavy. Okay, I like this. This is like, what's a good example? Lich Chainfrost was kind of reworked like this. Basically makes the level 1 ability worth casting. It's not a lot of slow. It doesn't slow for very long, but it's really good slow. Which is good, because it basically... Because before, 20% slow that lasts for 5 seconds, who gives a shit, right? It's like, they're barely slower. But what's really important is making sure that they're slow in the moment that you're trying to land the Centaur Stun, the Ursa Clap, the hard-to-land abilities. So now, if you use it at the right time, it guarantees pretty much that you're going to be able to land your disable. So this is a big buff towards making enchant better at ganking with creeps in the early game, which is how you should play the damn hero. Anybody that just AFK farms Enchantress and buys a Midas is playing the hero wrong. You should be moving around the map, messing shit up, and making the game easy for your team. That's how you should play her. Respawn talent at 25, 6% impetus damage. It's pretty big. So it does... That's actually a huge number, because every point of ultimate that you put in gives you 4%. 6% is a level and a half. And that's at 25. Enchant effects, ancients, and the impetus damage. I don't remember what the other one was. Oh, that's right. It was respawn. Duh. That's pretty good. That's like super good. 28% of range. Damage is capped at 715 distance. Let's do some math. 1750. Before the max was 22. Oops. $385 pure was the max you could do before, but now it's going to be 28. So 750 times 0.28. What was that, like 350 or something? 490 pure. That's pretty good, guys. Hurricane Pike 25 with that shit. Whew. That's a lot of damage. Pretty good stuff. With that said, though, controlling ancients is super OP with the enchant skill, because you can keep them permanently controlled. Kind of depends how you want to try to end the game, I suppose. That's enchant's problem, actually, is hitting buildings and ending the game. Enigma, replace the talent, so it's 300 HP or this. This is pretty good, though. This would give you 4 seconds of stun for the duration. I really felt like Kezu figured out the Enigma build. Like, he totally nailed it. The Bloodstone after the Bloodstone around level 20 is really cool. Basically instant respawn, and it also solved the HP problems that you usually had at 20. But one Malefice instance, when it lasts, what's a 15-second cooldown? And the delay is 2 seconds. So it's like stun, 2 seconds, stun, 2 seconds, stun, 2 seconds, stun, 2 seconds, stun. So that's 4 periods. Stun, 2 seconds. Stun, 2 seconds. Stun. Okay, so it's 6 seconds of downtime. Not technically. Because it stuns every 2 seconds, and then they're stunned for a whole second. So you basically have a second between stuns to not be stunned. So over the course, basically lasts for 8 total seconds now, instead of 6, basically. But in half of those seconds are stunned. 4 seconds of stun instead of 3. And also increases the damage by a bit. I mean, I won't often get it, but against a lot of carries, this is god tier. Especially if they're BKBs. If you hold it till after BKB, it's potentially good. I probably won't get it. It could make you a little bit better at solo killing if needed. Certainly will be fun for pubs, but I feel like most Enigmas will get the HP by far, like without question. Almost always, it's better. Time dilation is slow per affected cooldown increased. Ugh. Oh, I guess that's movement speed, right? I think this is kind of a nice change, just because it like hard counters some heroes, but it's just like mediocre against others if they only have 1 or 2 spells. So I think it's fine that the percentage goes up. But I don't play Invokers, so that's why I'm not gonna bitch here. Ooh, Gyrocopter buffs. They are so small. That's okay. Movement speed buff by 5, and homing missile initial delay reduced by 0.5, which is pretty good. I think Gyrocopter is still on the verge of being OP once people figure out how to play the build right. You do not go Ags Satanic, you go Ags into damage items with a Mask of Death. And you have to get... Everybody gets baited by this cooldown reduction perk. They're like, dude, this perk, why would I pass up 20% cooldown reduction? You get the movement speed, damn it. You need movement speed. The damage is really good at 15, but sometimes you need magic resistance, and you get the health at 10. Every time. Cooldown reduction is super fucking overrated on Gyrocopter. It gives you lower cooldown on Rocket Barrage, on Homing Missile, Flat Cannon. Flat Cannon is like the only skill out of these 4, in my opinion, that is really good to lower cooldown on. The cooldown, it's okay. But in lowering Flat Cannon cooldown is really good. But that is, and yeah, your BKB and your phase boots and shit like that. But like, 20% cooldown reduction, super overrated. You get Ags, you run around, you get 35 movement speed, and you just like kite people and kill them all. It's super good. Swear to God. Look at this. 2% win rate increase for the movement speed over cooldown reduction. Legit math right here. You get the movement speed, guys. There's very, very select cases where you get the magic resistance, I think, in my opinion. There's some games where it's worth it. Like if you're against a Necro or something like that, somebody that like has a lot of single target magic, it might be worth it. It doesn't really work against Lina, I guess, but there's some cases where it might be worth it. But 30 damage is so good with Ags. I don't like these builds. Not a fan. This guy's way better than me. But I don't know. Ags is the way. Huskar life break, leap speed increased. That's fine. Dealt and taken. So the numbers change a little bit basically. So it's actually worth it to level the skill up before. Before I think it only changed like the duration of slow. But now it does more damage and stuff like that. The Ag's Huskar is actually pretty amazing numbers, like 65% offensively. Something like that. IO replaced respawn talent. Tetherstone saw that. Dual Breath start radius increased. And the end radius increased. So basically it's more of a cone now. So it'll hit more units nearby you and hit more at the end as well. And yeah, this one is really cool. It's either this or the Ice Path 1.25 seconds duration increase. Something like that. 1 second duration. Jakiro. I am bad at the alphabet. It is about time to press Control F. And that didn't help a whole lot, guys. Not looking good. That's what I'm going to do. There it is. God. Yeah, 1.25 seconds, which puts it up to 3.25 or 3.75 duration, which is super good. But macro doing pure, man. 180 pure damage per second. That's pretty good. And pierces immunity. So people BKB against Jakiro, you're kind of worthless. That's what happens, unfortunately. But now you could stand in the fire with Octarine and just heal. It's pretty good. This one's kind of interesting. I don't know what the other talent is. Keeper was actually picked a lot right at the start of the event, I think, but then it kind of fell off. It was not a good day for finding heroes, huh? 20% experience gain, huh? Does this mean it restores 600 mana now? Is that what that means? That could be incredible for helping your allies, like for Storm Spirits and stuff. It's kind of a weird perk, level 15 now. 20% experience or that. I feel like for Coddle herself or himself, I wouldn't bother with the Chakra Magic mana, so I'd probably only get it if my allies were likely to be mana drained or need more of a mana pool to do something with it. Otherwise, I'll probably get the experience gain, but we'll see. I don't play the Coddle that much. Most of his perks are actually pretty boring, very low numbers. Really, the best ones are 25, the cast range and the illuminate damage heal. Ghost Ship now always crashes where Kunkka targets it. Okay, I like that a shitload. That's so cool. Because before the problem is that like if you're too close to your opponents, it just wouldn't hit where you want it to. So you can probably boat right in front of you. It just takes longer for it to arrive. Is the difference. So now Kunkkas will be able to do some like high skilled shit where they can actually aim their Ghost Ship where it's supposed to be and not have to worry about where their positioning is leading up to that. It also means that you can basically do combos from melee range instead of having to back up. So you don't have to do like X, run away, then cast Boat, then cast Torrent. So this should really help his playability a little bit, especially when you get initiated on. Because Kunkka, when you are initiated on, really sucks because you throw the boat basically because it's not going to hit anything. Because you basically cast it to buff yourself. And you just know it won't do damage. But now, even if they initiate on you, you can cast it in a way that it will eventually hit. But it just is going to take longer if it's closer to you. That's how it'll work. Does that make sense? That actually doesn't technically make sense. It'll still take the same time for the boat to hit. So if you cast it really close to you, the problem is that it'll take a long time for the buff to hit you. But technically the boat will still hit the ground at the same time. So the buff will be delayed, but the damage will still be reliable. Which is cool. I think this is a really good change to Kunkka. A really big quality of life. A really big quality of life buff to the hero. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of cool like skill shots and stuff. We could also see... I wonder if this is really abusable for cliffing people now. I bet you could cliff people with Ags all the time now, actually. This might be too OP, because I think you're just going to get cliffed all the time. Because if you buy Ags, they get vacuumed into it, right? Which means you can always pick exactly where it lands. So you could very easily do like vacuum stuff and things like that. Especially with Blink Dagger, I would feel like that would hit very often. It's definitely very good for new players, though. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But it's definitely very abusable with Ags. I've never even tried the Ags on. I did it one game, I think. But it still was hard to use, for sure. I still missed some of my combos with it. It's difficult to time, difficult to aim. Just made the hero a little bit too hard to master for both stuff with Ags. So maybe he'll be the new Magnus. Legion Commander, overwhelming odds, mana cost going up. Dual Scepter now additionally grants Spell immunity to your hero during duel. Okay. And raise the respawn dance with 10% moment proc. And Moment of Courage is his passive, or her passive. And that puts it up to 35% instead of 25, which is pretty good. And that is instead of 7 armor. Pretty much everybody I've ever seen has gotten 7 armor, but the moment proc chance might be doable if you're like snowballing and going for solo kills. That's probably where it's most useful, so you can get extra hits. This is not going to matter that much to the hero, just like long engagements, but the hero needed a nerf, way too overpowered. And the Scepter, nobody ever bought it because it's kind of seen as bad, because if you duel somebody with Ag Scepter, your allies can't help, and that's usually what's needed to guarantee kills. But now it also gives you spell immunity, and the reason for that is that even if you would buy it before, sometimes they would just like cast Yules on you, or they'd stun you while you dueled somebody, so they were still affecting the duel basically. With that said, it doesn't grant spell immunity to their hero, so they can still be stunned technically, but you wouldn't really want to do that. Basically, you just want to get Blade Mail and you duel somebody and they die. But I think pro players will very rarely buy this, and most of them think that's a mistake to do. I don't think anybody ever bought it at Kiev. It's dangerous to do. There's just better, more important items. Leshrac Scepter reworked, probably needed to happen. It was pretty boring. When it's active, every 1.75 seconds, Lightning Storms will hit one random unit within 700 AoE. Prioritizes heroes. Okay, cool choice. Before, it would just make him do like way more damage, and the problem was that nobody would ever buy it. They'd buy other items instead, even though it was good. Like, it definitely amped your ultimate a lot. I think it was like equivalent of 2 levels or something like that, of two more skill points in your ulti is basically what it did. But to land lightning slows, especially when you've got the lightning slow storm slow duration, that might actually make that perk worth getting. Whereas in the past, nobody would ever get the skip up the Diabolic Edict, because it'd increase your edict damage by a lot. It's like 125% more explosions or something. Whereas getting Ags now, it's actually gonna give you some teamfight control because it slows. How many seconds? 1.75 seconds. That's pretty freaking good. I mean, it only bounces. No, it actually bounces a lot now, doesn't it? Okay, 10 bounces. The slow is 75% and lasts for 1 second. So that means, hypothetically, if there's only a few heroes nearby, they're going to be slowed for 75% for 1 out of every 1.75 seconds, which is kind of god tier, especially if you actually get the perk that does lightning storm slow durations, because now that's going to be literally 4 seconds of 75% movement speed slow. Pretty much perma. So that's actually... It's not bouncing? 1 target? Oh, okay. 1 random unit. Are you guys sure it doesn't bounce? Really? I mean, I guess it would be way too OP. It would be way too OP if it worked the way that I'm talking about it working. With that said, it still can work extra because you can get the perk. So basically, if there's only 1 hero, it'll work a lot better. And it always hits heroes. Still very good. Definitely still very good. Potentially very OP as well. Because it keeps them there. Everything else nearby is going to die because of Pulse Nova, Edict, stuff like that. So, I don't know, it's kind of a cool change. It makes you less reliant on having to cast Split Earth, basically, to land a stun on somebody. I like the change. The stats that Ags gives is actually really good for Lesh. He wants HP, he wants stats. That part's really good. It's not going to do a lot of damage increase. It's only, 200 damage max. It's not much. But it could add up. Could be an option. As a support, this is actually... Oh, it's while Pulse Nova is active. I didn't even see that. Small farm increase. You tested it, it doesn't bounce. Okay. So it doesn't bounce. Still not terrible, though. I mean, you will use Pulse Nova to farm. It's okay. It seems okay. If it bounced, it would be really, really good, I would say, no matter what, even without that perk. As it currently stands, it's alright. It also helps you use Pulse Nova against a single target. That part's kind of cool, because right now, Pulse Nova is obviously an amazing AoE skill, but it's not great at killing single target guys, especially if they have a little bit of magic resistance. But now, if you think about it, it's like, if it does 200 damage every 1.75, we can do math on that. So we'll do 200 divided by 1.75. So basically, rather than Pulse Nova doing 220 AoE magic damage, for every second it's up. Now it does technically 114 plus 160. So it kind of does more. So if you're talking about using Pulse Nova against one hero, Ag's Leshrac is better now than it used to be. Because it used to do 220, now it does 274, which is a huge increase. Magic damage. And that's not counting all the spell amp increases. So this is not bad. If you're worried about killing a single hero, it could be an item you buy, certainly. Especially if you get that perk at 25. Like, just by having Pulse Nova on, some hero is going to get slowed for 4 seconds, no matter what. Thanks for the bits, appreciate it. Was it blocked by my calculator? I didn't see it fall in the cup. Thank you though, Alpha Elite, appreciate it. I can see this being good. This guy do it already? Looks like it. It was only 5k MMR, but still. Lightning. Yeah, I'm not too surprised to see it just super delayed. It's kind of a crap skill right now early. Alright, Chain Frost slow increased again. I think Chain Frost is honestly very good right now. I think Lich is very close to being a good hero. The problem is that it's hard for Lich to win games because Lich is really shit disables, but maybe things like Atos can change that. But Chain Frost is really good right now. The cooldown is really low. The slow percentage is really high. It slows for now 65%, and it used to do 50 a bit ago. Oh, that includes attack speed, by the way. That's super good. And it bounces 10 times. And the slow duration went down. So the duration went down, but that doesn't matter because the slow amount is more important. Because it's more important to have a lot of slow amount than it is slow duration if you're going to keep getting it applied. So Chain Frost is certainly getting really good. But Lich has trouble like closing games out and winning games after you win a team fight. Like, Lich is just so bad at like, just really difficult at having an advantage and then just closing it out, kind of, is where Lich has a lot of problems. Ice Armor is really good depending on the lineup, I would say, but definitely difficult for Lich to win games, I feel. Almost every time I play the hero, it feels good at the start, but like mid and late game, the hero just feels like shit because you need disables. Disables are just way too important. If people have BKBs and Force Staffs and Glimmer, Chain Frost starts sucking, so I don't know, maybe Lich needs a rework, perhaps. I'm not sure. Lina respawn talent is now 40 movement speed. Again, that's a lot because of Fiery Soul, which gives you more movement speed based on what your movement speed is. And since this is a static amount, that's a big difference. So Linas are going to be really fast if they choose this talent over the damage one. I feel like almost all pro Linas will get the damage perk at 15, whereas supports will probably get the movement speed to help give them survivability and help them initiate better, I would guess. But we'll see. Lion, this is the cast range instead of the respawn talent that he had. I don't see this as a huge buff. It's okay. It's pretty good, I guess, but I'd have to play around with it. It's probably better than the 60 damage because Lion is mostly about initiating and casting. Lone Druid. Alright, this is what I need to check first. I can't remember what the last nerfs were because everybody stopped playing the hero because he got super over nerfed. Rabid duration is 25 seconds out of 35. Okay? Alright, 25 out of 35. Oh, they changed it. Okay, so in the past it was 30 out of 45 at best. Now it is 25 out of 35 at all levels. So that means it's about as good at all levels, but the attack speed is better at all levels by 10. So it's a little bit better when it's used. The uptime is kind of bad. This is what, 2/3, and this is like, I don't know, 25 divided by 35, whatever that ratio is. 71%. So the ratio got better. The uptime is a little bit better, and the amount that it gives you is a little bit better. And the respawn talent now is 50% Spirit Bear damage at 20. So basically your bear gets stronger at 20 no matter what. Either your bear gets more armor or your bear gets more magic resistance. 50% is a ridiculous amount, actually. It's actually insane. But with that said, there's not a lot of heroes that are just going to magic nuke down the bear, so I guess it's fine that it's so stupidly high. But the bear's easily going to be able to tank nukes now. 50% is amazing, because the bear has like, what, 2k HP or something like that? So now it'll have essentially 3,000 magic HP against magic nukes only. So back to bear, I guess. Guess we're going back to the bear. Level 15, Spirit Bear damage 50 is pretty good. versus 50 damage for your hero. I don't know. I feel like it's probably worth playing Lone Druid again now. But the nerf to him, this was very weird. The Rabid duration, that kind of like killed the hero in a lot of ways. Although with that said, Rabid was also kind of stupid because it was just always on. That part was kind of dumb. Thanks 8-bit. I appreciate it. Can I test if the Lesh Ags bounces? Somebody said earlier that it doesn't. I'll test it at the end of this. How about that? Lucent Beam cast animation reduced by a little bit. Small buff to Luna. Was that talent change? Nerfs to Magnus. This hero is really popular at Kiev. Okay, I saw this in game a little bit. I saw that Shockwave had changed. I was really confused. They reworked this up. I just bought this like a week ago. It felt really good actually. But they changed it. Shockwave comes back, hitting units a second time and applying a 60% slow for 2 seconds. The distance and travel speed are increased by 50%, and the return wave deals half damage to creeps, whereas full damage to heroes. So that means it goes farther, it goes faster, and it does double damage. So now if you get an Ags on Magnus, your Empower or your Shockwave does 600 magic, I assume, and it applies a 60% slow, which lets you better land skewers. This is actually very good, I would say. You could potentially go like Blink Ags and just like farm like crazy. And I feel like there's no way. Let me read the rest of this first. Reverse polarity no longer lasts extra time on creeps. That's fine. Respawn talent is skewer range, and yeah, this had to happen actually. With Shockwave, with the Ags thing, there's no way you could have a 3-second Shockwave cooldown. That'd be disgusting. Change it to 15 armor. So it's basically either 15 armor or skewer range. So Shockwave now does 600 magic damage against heroes. Does half against creeps, so it does 450 against creeps, but still very good. And it slows for 2 seconds. But you can pretty much use this to better land skewer, blink skewer backs, and just the overall damage in fights is really good here. It kind of changes the hero layout a little bit though. It's more towards a Nuker perhaps, and a little bit less towards like I just gotta land RP and win the game. So I kind of like the change. I feel like you always get 10 spell amp. You always get the spell amp at 10 now, I feel like. 15% spell amp, I realized that the other day. It basically helps your Shockwave one-shot range creep. So you can just nuke a wave and you always get the range creep, which is the best part about it. But now with having Ags on top of that, I feel like Mags can just go like E-Blight Dagon shit, honestly. So if your first skill does 600 magic damage minimum, because it's actually doing more. It's like 345 times 2. Let's do some math. 345 is with the spell amp, without even counting your int, times 2. So 690 damage by having Ags with the 50% spell amp and using Shockwave. That's just having Ags and level 10. That's it, which is very possible. Very easy to do for Magnuses, right? And that's a 7-second cooldown. So every 7 seconds you do 690 AoE damage, and it slows for 60% for 2 seconds. And then if you get an E-Blade on top of that, and maybe a Dagon on top of that, you're actually doing insane damage. Because you have 15% spell amp. I kind of feel like the spell amp is going to get nerfed. I feel like Mag Ags is a thing. It's just become a thing. There's like no way it doesn't become a thing, because it just increases your farm speed if you buy it. And Shockwave is already a great farming skill, and it's a great enemy nuking skill. I mean, the benefit is that it's going to make Magnus less reliant on just landing RPs, because he's just going to do so much magic damage between like Skewer and Shockwave now. But it feels OP to me. I don't know. I feel like Mag is still here to stay, guys. And cool late game options now too. 15 armor, 500 skewer range. I don't know. Ags Magnus, man. Why buy Midas anymore? I don't necessarily think people are going to go E-Blade Dagon, but it feels good. She's dreaming again. Added Scepter for Medusa. Mystic Snake to turn enemies into stone for 1 second. Increases by 0.2 seconds per bounce. So bounces, what, 6 times? Six times, which means that potentially it can stun somebody for 2 seconds. That's with Ags though. God, there's so many good abilities for ability draft. Hell yeah, dude. Ability draft's gonna be so much fun. I mean, either way, this is great. 1 second of disable, and then it amplifies the damage they take by 50%. But it does make them magic immune, which is kind of bad. So you could actually really grief your team with this, but I mean, it adds a stun to Medusa. That's not bad. Like if you just want to stun heroes more often, just buy Ags. Could work. Maybe is it viable in any way to play something like support Medusa? Surely it's not. There's like no way that's good. There's no way. Ignore me. All right, Mirana base damage increased by 3. Starstorm impact delay reduced a little. Leap speed bonus reduced from 10 to 5, but it's doubled. Yeah, it is. Okay. Okay, that's kind of cool. 10 seconds was kind of like stupidly long. It's like, oh, I guess we're going to run somewhere for 10 seconds. Let's use Leap. This is more like a coordinated effort. So right-click Mirana is probably much better now, is basically what's going to happen. This is obviously a nice buff, but and as is this, but we could certainly see Mirana cores come back for right-click builds. Because this kind of attack speed increase is incredible, especially with her talent tree perk. The Medusa eggs is an Alchemist eggs. I mean, yeah, Alchemist could give it to her, but I think it's potentially usable, especially if you snake and start attacking. You could even do some like cheesy stuff with like Ags. What's the other item? Bloodthorn. Amplify, basically crit on somebody that's already taking bonus damage. Honestly, could be usable. We're gonna see some wombo combos pretty much. Wukong's command. Okay, let's see the Monkey King changes. All right, this is what I'm gonna say before I read these. I actually like playing Monkey King right now. Like, it's fun to roam on the hero, but he's kind of broken in the way that he's got no armor. He's so good at some things, but he's so bad at other things. And I find that a pain in the butt. So his ultimate will no longer provide bonus damage. And it provides him bonus armor now. The army no longer copies Basher and Abyssal. I think this is all great. Basically, this ultimate just did way too much damage. Instead, it gives him armor, which makes it hard for him to die. And the fact that they could all individually bash was so stupid, because then you would just chain bash people and it works through BKB. It's the dumbest shit ever. His teamfight was way too good. The attack rate is improved by a little bit, which means that he can still buy things like Echo Saber, Diffusal Blade, Scotty, things like that. And that's it. That's it, guys. All right. Let me try to process this. Fixed him carrying Urn of Shadows sometimes, wasting charges while Wukong's command is ongoing. I don't know what that means. Maybe like some of the other monkeys would think that they had Urn, therefore the Urn charge would go to one of the other monkeys, I'm guessing, is probably what was happening, because they copy items. Fixed tree jump causing Monkey King to temporarily have bigger vision than to define day and night values. I don't know when that would happen, but... So basically his ultimate is just different. You can't do the bash shit anymore, which is good because it was super OP, right? So that's gone. They do attack faster, but it's more reliant on you actually having damage for it to be useful. But you also get armor. So that means nukes are still very good against Monkey King, but actually right-clicking him within the Wukong's command is harder than it used to be. But it's in some ways not a big deal because they don't have a stupid amount of damage. I would say it's basically just a big teamfight nerf to the hero. Huge teamfight nerf. Huge teamfight nerf. Small buff. I mean, Echo Saber is better now, for sure. And they're like, hey guys, buy Urn of Shadows. It's okay. But he's kind of the same hero. So basically your early roaming is equivalent to what it used to be. Pretty much. And your late game teamfight is certainly worse. But I think that was fine, because his late game teamfight was just too abusive. And at least now it's just hard to kill him. That's all. I think it's okay. I think it's an okay buff, honestly. Because yeah, his Wukong's command was still obnoxious to play against. So I think this is all good. Still can buy Echo Saber, so I still think monkeys will buy Echo Saber now instead of Basher, is most likely what their move will be. I don't think they'll buy like Scotty or anything like that. Just probably not worth it. What do you guys think? You can still buy Solar Crest? I don't think the Solar Crest matters that much. Why does the Solar Crest matter? Echo Saber doesn't work? What do you mean it doesn't work? I thought it worked. You think they should remove either the bash or the bonus damage, not both? I think they had to remove bash no matter what. Way too stupid. Way too obnoxious to play against. They all got their own basher. It's OP. Removing the damage as well. I mean, I kind of agree that this seems a little bit overkill. Definitely. But by adding this, it kind of says, like, here's how his role is going to change. It basically forces you to use Wukong's command with an ally. You can't just, like, ulti on a guy and use your stun and they die, pretty much. You need some kind of slow combos. I don't know. Medallion, Urn, Monkey King. I don't know if I'd buy Medallion. I mean, well, I know people are buying Solar Crest on the hero because he has no armor, but maybe you don't need it anymore because now you've got bonus armor just from using your ultimate. I think at the least they should have lowered his ultimate cooldown. I think that would have been good. I feel like they needed that buff, personally, because bonus armor is good and all, but it's not like... It's defensive, right? Like it doesn't give you offensive advantage. It's usually better than defensive advantage. Like glass cannons are usually what are picked over just like super safe, consistent heroes, because then you use the tool in the right way rather than thinking like, oh, it's okay, I cover a lot of bases. Battle for your Monkey King. I don't think that works. Monkey King bar. That could work, but it's not that great. I mean, it's not about the mini stun. It's about... This is kind of also making me think like core, like carry Monkey King is more viable. Like this basically screams like you should play core Monkey King, guys. Please play core Monkey. Stop roaming Monkey King. But I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I don't know if I wouldn't play him in solo ranked right now. I'd probably play him unranked and try to feel things out. Most likely. Urn's probably really good on him now though because it gives armor. I like that. Morphling mana cost goes down for Adaptive Strike. 80 at all levels. Whatever. I didn't know that it was 100 at level 1, and it went down. I didn't know that. But honestly, very inconsequential as a whole. Alright, Naga, let's see what gets changed. Cast time increase for ulti. Cooldown rescaled to be less bad at 1, but worse at level 3, which is needed. This would put, with an Octarine, this would put it at 60 seconds instead of 45. That's a huge difference. That pretty much needed to happen, and the range is rescaled, so it's worse at level 1. Oh, this is the Naga counter. You just pick Earthshaker and you get the range increase. It is better range late game though. Mirror image illusion damage taken rescaled, so it is... They're worse late game, but it's a little bit better early game. So basically they're just bad, worse than they used to be. And Riptide damage rescaled to be better early, so maybe Naga support is back. Maybe. This skill used to do like 120-ish damage. It was actually god tier at level 1. And ensnare cast point slightly better, and ensnare mana cost rescaled. So, kind of looks like Naga support's a little better, but basically Naga support's better. Like, Naga support is better, Naga's better at laning, but she's worse late game by quite a bit. Quite a bit. Easier to gank. I mean, basically nerfs to Naga core, buffs to Naga support. That's pretty much the easy way to talk about this. Don't know if it'll make a big difference though. People may still play her. Nature's Prophet. Replaced respawn talent and remove the teleport cooldown. Talked about that already. Ghost Shroud heal amplification increased. I like this actually because it's one aspect of the hero that's a little underplayed about it. Does this apply to heroes allies you heal as well? I'm not sure if that's how it works, but I mean if you use a mech, heals 250. With this it heals 375, but now it'll heal whatever 25 of that is. Let's do it. 250 times 1.75. 437.5 AoE heal. It's pretty good. It's okay. I think it's a nice change. It'll make your wand and stuff better. If you get kills and then are healing, it's kind of cool. Hunter of the Night can now be activated during the night. I wonder if it's worth grabbing like... Nah, the duration is low enough. It's probably not worth buying regen items, I would think. Maybe though. You get more regen during that period. Hunter of the Night can now be activated during the night to grant Night Stalker flying movement for 2 seconds. Okay, cool. Costs you 50 mana. I actually like this a lot. It's kind of a cool change. It's basically like having Night Stalker Ags a little, because it will give you flying vision, it seems. I'm guessing. Like, if you have flying movement, you have flying vision, right? So, if you have flying vision, you basically have Night Stalker Ags for 2 seconds. And the cooldown is pretty low, actually. 14 seconds. It also means you don't need a Blink Dagger as much. You can just deward all the time. Like, you could honestly just buy a fast gem on this hero now at nighttime, which is kind of cool. Just gem quelling. You don't have to farm an Ags first. Like, this hero is so much better as a support right now, just because of this change. Basically means you can deward with a gem every 2 out of 14 seconds just by having some levels. And it gives you 1200 vision, which obviously can be used in a lot of cool ways. Checking cliffs. Very good. certainly could counter Monkey Kings a lot better now. This is like the new Monkey King counter, I'd say. Still costs 50 mana, which is kind of a lot, but I think the hero has the dumbest perk ever at level 15, which is Mana Pool. 300 mana, there you go, problem solved, guys. Cast range, strength, attack speed. I don't know, maybe the mana's worth it. It's so bad, though. 300 mana, why? He's got 2 skills. They both cost so little. 3 skills now, guys. I think that's my least favorite talent tree in the whole game. Level 15 plus 300 mana for Night Stalker. Everything he always buys is like Ags anyway, so maybe just skip Ags now? Would that be worth it? I mean, Ags is very expensive. Maybe that's part of the problem, is that all Night Stalkers go this like Ags build and they'll never change. Maybe they need to. Like the win rate's not that great. But maybe there's some carry Night Stalker builds that can come back now. It's like Flying Vision or Flying Movement is so good. Like you could literally just run up a cliff. Like there's so many different ways that you can gank mid now. And you can do that even at like level 2. You'd be like level 2 and gank a direction that people aren't going to see coming. I think this huge buff to Night Stalker. Night Stalker core, Night Stalker support, pretty much Night Stalker everything could be a lot better. It'll be fun to see if this works effectively. Alright, Oracle. Fortune's End is now a root rather than a slow. Oh, I know somebody said earlier Oracle's much better. I didn't realize it was a root though. That sets it. So it used to be a slow that sets it to 0, but now it's a root. And there's also the perk that makes it last longer, which means that you can have a potentially 3.25 root now on Oracle, which is really good if you hit the right hero. If I could find the alphabet. Oracle's late. There we go. And that's at level 10 actually. It's not bad. And it's a minimum 0.5 second root. It's also Dispel. So it's a potentially 3.25 second root and Dispel. Which is not good. The projectile speed is going down though. And Purifying Flames cast range goes up just a little bit. So this basically allows you to counter some other heroes like Storm Spirit, for example. Is there other stuff? Ember Spirit, potentially. You're actually so good against Ember Spirit now. Because you can debuff his Flame Guard, and you also root him during the duration. But either way, it's kind of difficult to land it if he dodges it. But it's probably doable. So I'd say Oracle's pretty good against Ember Spirit right now. In fact, he kind of always was good against Ember Spirit. Just people didn't play Oracle that much. He's just kind of just a dead hero. Really shit win rates. He's got pretty good win. Like, look at these win rates. It's just awful at all MMRs except for 5k. He's got 48.5%. Just hard to get levels on him too. I guess he's got experience gain. That's not bad. But it's just so annoying. Like, you basically have to have levels and then you have to participate in team fights and not die. That's how your hero does well. Whereas this guy just roamed, and that's actually really high MMR. I might watch that game. Aether Lens with Dagon, basically. It's one way to do it. OD reworked his Scepter, grants 2 charges of Astral Imprisonment, increases cast range by 300. Okay, that's pretty cool. Basically, you could play OD support finally. I think, arguably. Cast range goes up by 300. His regular cast range is kind of bad. I don't think we'll see core ODs buy this, but I might be wrong. Oh god, my alphabet. OD. I just looked at the O's, didn't I? There it was, literally right next to Oracle. God. The cast range is 450. It's not really super far, so this will put it up to 750, which is pretty good. Not that you want to play support OD, it's actually awful. I tried it once, it's actually terrible right now. Because the cast range of level 1 Imprisonment is terrible. It's 225. It's not worth it. You pretty much have to play core OD. It's like impossible otherwise. I mean, there's probably times where ODs might buy this late game. Because it is, I mean, it saves people, right? The damage area is stack. Replenish time is 12. You could banish 2 enemy heroes from a fight for 4 seconds. That's kind of cool. You know, maybe we'll see it. It's a decent item on the hero. Increases your mana by a good amount. It's like, what, 110 plus 175, so 300 mana, which, based on 9%, that's like 27 extra damage or something. 27 pure damage from Arcane Orb, and actually, and a plus another 11 from the Int, 10 from the Int gain. So it's like an extra 40 damage as an axe. It's not terrible. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible. The HP is like 375 or something. I feel like they'll still buy all the other items, but it's an option, I guess. Also good for ability draft, hell yeah. Phantom Lancer, fixed doppelganger illusions lasting 1 second less than attended. Didn't know. Phantom Rush agility bonus now granted before the first hit lands rather than after. They didn't do that before? Are you kidding me? I had no idea. I always... Was this a bug? So I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to get 36 agility for my first hit and a little bit of attack speed. That way my next attack will come faster. It didn't work like that because the agility gain is huge. Yeah, 30 bonus agility by the 4th point. So I assumed that it would give me 30 bonus attack. And it didn't really say like how long it would last either. So it would give you armor. And that's basically all it did. Maybe attack speed, I guess, technically. But now it's just a bonus hit. I don't know if this applies to illusions. I assume it does. Because obviously they Phantom Rush, right? So if an illusion gets it, that means they're getting a bonus 16% of that. Which is not a lot, but it's a little kind of interesting choice. And then Juxtapose Max Illusions increased as well. 6, 8, 10. Yeah. Fire Spirit's duration increased. I kind of like that. They kind of go away too fast. Replace Respawn Talent with the experience gain. Saw this. Oh, hell yeah. Life Drain now grants True Sight Vision over the target. That's really good, actually. So now if they go Invis, you'll still see them. That's potentially very good. The cast range reduced. Okay. But it has a 100 range break buffer. Okay. So basically you have to be closer to cast it, but it will break at the same duration, which is fine. I think that's a fine balance. That said, it's worse at all levels, except for level 1. So it's definitely worse at 12 and 18. And decrypt duration. So what's cool about this is basically you don't have to recast it if somebody goes invis briefly, which is kind of nice. And you can use it to guarantee vision on somebody if they stay close enough to you. But I think the way that this is potentially OP is that Aether Lens got super buff for Pugna. Because Pugna before, if you have like Ags, you actually don't need HP regen. It's irrelevant because you could just life drain with Ags. But if you have an Aether Lens and an Ags, now you just get passive mana regen. And your int gain is like the highest in the game. I assume that's still the case. 4.5 int per level that you gain. So you just need percentage mana regen item, but you always have to buy Ags and Aether Lens usually, which prevents you from having any percentage based mana regen items. But now if you just buy Aether Lens, you're set. Pretty much just set. Other than the 10 plus 3 mana regen, but 225 health on Pugna I feel like is too hard to pass up. And Decrep lasts for 3.5 seconds out of 6, which means if you reduce it by 1, you're 3.5 out of 5 Decrep duration, which is very good. Nether Blast cooldown -1 puts it down to 4. And then cast range again at 20 potential, which is not bad. So I feel like if you get Aether Lens on Pugna, you are in a good spot. Especially with the HP perk at 10. So that would give you like a 1000 cast range with an extra 100 range break buffer. Basically, Aether Lens makes all of these better anyways. So I think this is a nice little change. I still think that they should fix the mechanics aspect. Like I know Life Drain is coded that way. The damage you take is what you heal to your opponent, but if you have a pipe on, you can't heal your ally. That's just absolutely stupid. I don't know why they haven't fixed that. Maybe it's difficult to change the coding, but that's the most annoying part. Or if you have magic resistance, the amount of health that you lose yourself to give to heal an ally is less. So if you have magic resistance, you actually hurt your ability to heal your allies rapidly, which is also kind of stupid in my opinion. I mean, it's kind of cool because technically you can adjust what rate you want to give it to your ally, but it's very confusing. Wish it made more sense. But I'll maybe support Pugna's better. I'm not sure. Support Pugna's probably bad, but maybe there's some situations it's okay. Queen of Pain, level 25 talent from no Shadow Strike cooldown to 550 AoE. They finally did it, guys. They're like, all right, we'll give you AoE Shadow Strike. But they didn't want to do the apply an ulti, which I think is fine. In some ways, this is better because of the spell lifesteal, actually. Because if I could find my cues. There we go. This does a lot of damage, right? And if you get 70%... Oh, wait, shit, you have to grab the other one. You can't get both. Can't have Shadow Strike, AoE, and Lifesteal. 70% spell lifesteal is pretty OP for the reason of Maelstrom, because it does spell damage, magic damage. So with Maelstrom and Mjolnir, you're getting 70% lifesteal from that. That's what makes that OP. But 550 AoE is huge. I assume that means diameter, not radius. I mean, putting Shadow Strike on everybody on the enemy team is pretty good. Throwing it on an entire creep wave is potentially good. Throwing it on every Chen creep is potentially good. But I don't see... I feel like people still get the spell lifesteal because it helps you transition a little bit better. But 550 AoE Shadow Strikes, not terrible. And it's such a low cooldown, right? It's like 4 seconds or something. You can cast that every 4 seconds, and it slows by 50% right at the start. It's not bad. Like if BKBs are down, that is so good for control. For a whole enemy team. I'm sure that people will get this now, I think. So the teamfight control provides is just really, really good. Razor Eye of the Storm prioritizes striking static link. Thank God that needed to be fixed. It actually needed to be fixed so bad. Because like you'd cast... So this is the problem with Razor, right? Like you cast your ultimate and it would only attack things that were low HP. But the problem is that creeps have very low HP. So if creeps have low HP... Base that like a melee creep has 550 HP and a range creep has like 300, right? But a hero has like, let's say the hero has 1500, but you get him to half HP, so he's at like 750. He still has more HP than all the creeps. So all of a sudden your Eye of the Storm will be like, time to attack those little creeps that have low HP. It was so stupid. So you'd be chasing a guy that's static linked, but if there's creeps everywhere, it like kills your hero. It doesn't work. That's why Leshrac works, because you use Diabolic Edict, which is better against one hero. But Pulse Nova, his ultimate, kills all the other creeps, and then your Diabolic Edict can hit the hero that's important. But Razor just couldn't do that. Razor is just kind of in a shit place. This is going to make a big difference, though, because now you can just ulti and chase somebody and static link the guy that you want to die. In the first, like, 5 to 10 seconds that you're chasing him, he's actually going to get a lot of armor reduction. This is a huge, huge buff to Razor, especially with the other buff that I haven't read yet. This is actually so big for him. Because this thing hits every, like, what, 0.7 seconds? And it lowers the armor by 1. So let's say you're chasing somebody for, like, 5 seconds with static link on. Just even 5 seconds, and we divide that by 0.7. Let's say you got level 1, 5 divided by 0.7. So 7.14 Eye of the Storm hits. So literally for a minimum of 5 seconds, which is like kind of a lot of chase, right? But only lasts for 8. So it's like most of the static link. You're getting 7 hits of Eye of the Storm, and then if we multiply that by the damage, it's 7 armor reduction, and it does 285 physical just by casting your ult for 5 seconds. And it doesn't have a cast animation anymore, or a cast point anymore. That means you literally press the button and it starts. So you don't have to like static link. You have to stop, cast static link, stop, cast your ulti, and then chase somebody and let it hit your creeps for much. Because like half the time you use Eye of the Storm, you have to dive creeps anyways, and it doesn't even hit your opponent until like the last couple seconds. So it's like you don't even get the armor buildup that's supposed to be good. So this is a really cool change. I like it. I think it'll make the hero a little bit more viable. Like this is a good example of like how you have to play Razor. You have to be really fast. Even buying Ags is kind of seen as a bad thing because it doesn't hit things reliably anyways. It does help you hit towers though. That part's kind of cool. And lowers the interval by just a little bit. But his ultimate is just kind of a shit skill, honestly. Just kind of a crap skill. With that said, I'll probably try playing him again. I played him with Mask of Madness the other day, and I really liked that, actually. And it's probably even better now. It's actually probably even like insanely better now because of Eye of the Storm and Static Link. I can actually just cast Static Link and my ulti and just right-click my opponent repeatedly and catch up with them. It's going to be so much better now. Huge buff. I really like it. It's such a simple change. Prioritizes striking Static Linked heroes. It's so simple. It's so fucking simple. But these two tiny-ass changes, like no other changes of the hero, just completely changes everything. I guarantee Razor's okay now. Maybe not okay, but it's going to be so much better with this. You guys are going to play against a Razor in your pub, and he's just going to kill you really easily, and you're going to be like, oh shit, Razor can actually kill me now. His skills actually work. Razor, Deso, Mask of Madness. That actually could work. I think that's the first Deso Mask of Madness that anybody has ever said so far in this stream that is actually viable. I think. Before, I think somebody said it earlier and I didn't believe you, but I think it's actually okay now because Eye of the Storm will hit the right target, no matter what. So you literally just cast Plasma Field, Static Link, cast your ulti, pop Mask of Madness, and you chase somebody down. And for 5 seconds, their armor gets lowered by 7, and then your Deso does an extra 8. Next problem is your HP is not going to be super high, but you can solve that with like power treads or something. Like his win rate's going to get so much better now. He actually has a decent win rate at 5k, it looks like. And that might be old data. I think this is just about the same skill build that I've gone as well. Sometimes I got 400 health, I think, but both of these are super good too. Yeah, I think Razor's in a better place now. Might be more viable, but he might be OP. This kind of scares me. I feel like this might be OP because the skill never did it, so maybe the skill's too strong. We'll see though. Ricky base movement speed reduced by 5. Now he's like, what, 280 or something? Atrocious. Like, actually so slow. Ricky. What you at? 285. One of the heroes, slowest heroes in the game. I think that's... I've never looked at this window before. I think that's pretty much like Crystal Maiden level, if I'm not mistaken. Sand King Caustic Finale no longer unique attack modifiers. This means you can buy... What, Orb of Venom? Hey, Tango. Come here. Come on, you want to be on camera? Come here. Come here. Oh, that's right, Microsoft from before. Come here. It's okay. How come you never want to be on camera? How come I have to force you every time? Come on. Hi. Hello. Don't lick me. Small break for food and dog. She's a good dog. Rod of Atos on Razor. Hi. Alright, I'll let you down. Good girl. Okay, so you could buy Orb of Venom on Sand King, I guess. Other than that, I don't know if it's needed. She's going to resume licking my hand now. Sandstorm Invisibility Linger Duration rescaled. So it's worse at level 1 now. That's after your Sandstorm ends. Which I think is fine because Sand King's pretty strong right now. DPS rescaled to be better, so that's the trade-off, I guess. Does more damage, really. I think that's fine. That way you can get one Sandstorm, it's more value, damage-wise. And then minus 50 at percent attack, so we saw that earlier. Oh, Shadow Demon, here we go. Shadow Poison and mana cost reduced. This was the first thing that stuck out to me, is the mana cost was just way too high. But because camps spawn more often, I wouldn't want to overbuff the skill, because that was one of the biggest things that broke Shadow Demon, was neutral camps not spawning every minute. So maybe he's better again. With that said, there's still a lot of magic resistance creeps, so kind of iffy, but I think it's worth trying him in an unranked game or something like that. I don't know if I'd want to play him in solo ranked, because his skill set is just not super amazing right now, I would say. With that said, though, you could probably justify picking Shadow Demon against illusion heroes, because then you could buy a Dagon maybe. That way you can disrupt illusions and then Dagon them to kill them, and then use the illusions effectively, like the Radiance Burn and stuff, perhaps. Or maybe like a PL or something like that. Might be possible, especially because Soul Catcher stacks really well with Dagon anyways, because you're amplifying the damage that you deal. But this is actually a lot. I mean, if you cast Shadow Poison 5 times, that's 25 mana. It's kind of a lot. 275 versus 250. It's not a huge buff. I mean, this skill used to be at, what, 40 mana? But it's getting a little bit more towards that. Soul Catcher now spreads this amplification evenly among all enemies in the AoE. Oh, that is super cool. Huh. Basically, it makes the skill be better no matter what. So if it's just one hero, like, you can easily still cast it, so it just hits one hero. But now, if there's 2 heroes and you're having trouble clicking on both, or the guy, or getting the AoE to the exact guy you want, you can just cast it anyways, and it hits both. And this is actually really significant. That is a huge buff to Shadow Demon, as far as I'm concerned, because this skill actually does god tier bonus damage. Does 50%, right, by 4 skill points. So if you even cast that on 2 heroes, that's 25% increase for both. And it does pure damage. Well, basically any damage they take, it does 50% of that or whatever. I thought it pierced spell. Okay, it doesn't pierce spell immunity, but if you cast it on somebody and they pop BKB, it doesn't get removed. So basically, casting this ability is actually super good now. So even like, let's say somebody has, let's say it's an illusion hero, like a PL or something. He's got 7 illusions. You're like, there's no goddamn way that my Soul Catcher will get it on the correct hero. There's no way it will. You can cast it. You have a 1 out of 7 chance of it landing on the hero you want it to land on. But now you can cast it and be like, okay, it's gonna land, and I also know that it's going to for sure amplify the damage that the PL takes by 7.14%. It's not a lot, but it's guaranteed, and that is a huge change. Because before, when shit's hitting the fan, man, and you're trying to just cast spells correctly, sometimes you'd have to walk a certain way to cast Soul Catcher. Now you can just do it fairly safely. And on, like, the build might even be like Now the build's actually Aether Lens on Shadow Demon. Mana cost is too high for Shadow Poison, right? Kind of need Arcanes. But now you're going to have a mana pool increase, you're going to have a cast range increase, which makes it easier to land Soul Catcher the way you want to from safety. You can cast Disruption from safety, you can cast your ultimate from safety. Like, I don't see why you don't go like Tranquil Boots into Aether Lens on most supports, but for Shadow Demon, I would say it's really good. Glimmer Cape's still good, Force Staff's still good, obviously, but I could really see those builds coming together nicely. Maybe throw an Urn in there for a little bit more static mana regen and some armor, perhaps. Replace Respawn Talent with minus 1.5 second Shadow Poison cooldown, which puts down to 1 second, which is pretty good. That means that's actually super good, because within, I don't know what his cast animation time is. I don't think it says on this website, but has his attack point. But what was that, level 20? That's pretty good. Most of his talents are just shit. Level 10 movement speed, 6 strength, just terrible. Basically 120 HP. I guess it's double the regen now. That part's kind of cool. 15 is cast range or spell amp. That one actually excites me. Like, that was one of the worst ones before. You're like, spell amp only matters if I get an Ags to amplify my demonic purge damage, or if I stack 5 shadow poisons. That's the only way I want spell amp, right? But now both look appealing because I know that there's more neutrals to spawn. I can probably farm faster, which will give me items that'll help me do more damage. What was that? Not to mention, like, I can cast Shadow Soul Catcher from farther away now. Like, those actually feel a lot more beneficial. And I know that if I get level 20, then I can get minus 1.5 second Shadow Poison cooldown. I'd also really like if the magic resistance got buffed at 20. I think 10 is too low for a support. 10 is just... why? It only works for, like... that's like a buff that should have existed when Shadow Demon was the most popular support. 10% magic resistance is fair for level 20. But for anything, like, serious, for a hero that's underplayed right now, like, look at this win rate. 42 fucking percent. It's actually lower at 5k. Can you guys believe that shit? That's so bad. This hero's, like, way underpowered right now. I think that should have been buffed as well, personally. But at this point, I don't see why I'd ever pass up 1.5 second Shadow Poison cooldown. And that was a buff that should have gone in a long time ago. Because late game is just impossible to 5-stack Shadow Poison. There's no way that ever happens. Against BKBs, Glimmer Capes, Force Staffs, Lotus Orbs, Manta Styles, all that shit. There's no way you get 5. So I think that was needed. So I'd probably do some mix of... I don't think I'd ever get 10 movement speed. It's just too little, in my opinion. I'd probably go strength every time. Maybe spell amp if I'm having, like, a Dagon game. Maybe cast range. I feel like you could go Aether Lens Dagon on this hero, but you probably want, like, a blink or force as well, or glimmer. I don't know. I actually feel excited to play Shadow Demon again. I haven't felt like that in a really long time. All very cool changes, I must say. Even the Soul Catcher cooldown, 6 seconds. It's like every 4 seconds you can cast an AoE Soul Catcher. That skill point that talent looks way more encouraging now, because I know Soul Catcher will actually be useful because it'll land on everything that I need it to land on. And then 25 demonic purge damage, obviously. I could get an Eggs and Refresher, and then I could do 4,800 magic damage. I could just cast it 8 times on somebody. 6 times. There's no way you have the mana for that, though, right? 600 for the first 3, then you'd refresh, then you'd 600 again. So that's like 1,500 mana pool to cast it 6 times. That's pretty good, though. That's pretty good. I don't think Shadow Demon Core is a possibility still. If that 1.5 second Shadow Poison cooldown was at level 15, maybe, but you could certainly play like maybe some kind of a 4 Shadow Demon, but it probably depends on the hero setups. I don't know. I'll try it out. I'll play around with it. Shadow Fiend level 25 talent from 125 Shadow Race to 150. I don't think any Shadow Fiend ever gets the opposite one. I think it's an attack range increase. Yeah, 150 attack range. I think they should have buffed the 15% lifesteal at 20 as well. Nobody touches that. Actually, you know, with that said, Shadow Fiend's a top hero right now, who's very, maybe not often picked, but certainly picked. And there's no reason to buff the perk that he actually uses. Well, I guess they don't use lifesteal either. I'm actually surprised to see these so similar, but I guess this does amplify the potential huge ultimate. Shadow Shaman base damage increased again by 6? Holy shit. What is our damage at now? 71 to 78. What the hell? That is insane. His range is low. It's like 400 something. Doesn't say attack range here, unfortunately. But that base damage is massive. Mass Serpent Ward's base attack range increased. And yeah, this is the respawn one. It's that or Shackle's duration. Okay. So split push or more stun, basically, depending on... And the summon's 10, so that's like a 40% damage increase, which is pretty good. That's not bad, especially when you get +1 Serpent Ward's attacks. Ags on it. 40% more wards, and then they can split shot with Ags to hit 2 things. So that's pretty good. So that's like what? Almost 3 times the value. Makes your ultimate 2.8 times better, hypothetically, for total damage output in an AoE kind of. Not bad. It's a good option, because there's definitely games where like you don't need the shackle duration. You're never going to get an 8-second shackle casted. Like they'll interrupt you. So there's definitely a lot of games where I'd probably get that at 20. I was also really thinking about getting the experience gain at 15. I feel like that'd be super value on the hero. Because if you hit 25, it's just god tier talent. The Aethershock damage looks so good. But maybe not. I think I watched a pub and somebody got cast range today. So maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe that was yesterday. It might have been an older game before this patch. Silencer, rework Silencer Scepter. Glaives now pierce spell immunity and deal 100% more damage against silenced units. Okay, that's cool. Rest in peace. Surrection Slacks. There's one more strat. Destroyed. So he used to go Ags Refresher. God, I hate it when he does Ags Refresher Brown Boots. It's so bad. You used to apply Curse of the Silent to your ultimate while you silence them, which was kind of stupid because I think it wouldn't. Would it even do damage while they're silenced? I can't remember. But it's kind of stupid. But piercing spell immunity is good because it would make the hero more viable as a core, whereas before it just wasn't really possible. Glaives is actually a lot of damage though, because usually it can end up doing a couple low 100 pure damage. Maybe not that much, but definitely like high 80s, low 100 pure damage. Now BKB won't stop it. You can still be silenced to stop, I guess, and you still have to hit, but the stats as well are very good, I would say. Especially because it's like generic HP. Silencer needs that a little bit. And generic stats. And 100% more damage against silence units is really good. That's actually amazing. So basically you could pretty easily hit for like, I don't know, 200 pure damage a hit. Especially if you're having a good early game and you go like, I don't know, we'll say like treads. Even like something like Hurricane Pike could be really good. Hurricane Pike somebody, pop Global Silence, hit him 4 times. You could do a shitload of damage to somebody. Just a lot of damage. So I'd say this is a possible grab, certainly. If you're against a BKB carry and you're playing Silencer and you're a core, absolutely is a pickup no matter what. Because otherwise they just counter you for 10 seconds and you can't do anything. Whereas now you can at least attack them if needed. That's just a good change. This also actually kind of makes Silencer an Omni counter, I would say, big time. Because now if you're playing against Omni, you could just pick Silencer. You can get an Ags, and then even if he uses... First of all, if he uses his Guardian Angel, it's not a big deal because you can still glaive through it. But now if you repel somebody, you can actually still deal full damage to the guy. That is probably the best impact of this and what makes Silencer good. Plus, if you global silence, you're going to silence an Omni anyways. He's probably going to have Greaves maybe, but so he can remove the silence. But it's cool. It's a cool change. Also, if somebody BKBs and then you global silence, it still silences them, doesn't it? Or does it just interrupt them? Because if you're BKB Black Hold and you get global silence, it still interrupts you. I think it just interrupts you or something. I'm not sure exactly how it works. Or does it actually silence? If you have BKB active and you get global silence, are you still silenced? It does silence them? Okay. Okay, so there's still silence even if they have BKB active. Okay, so it's an ultimate that silences. So this is still very good. If somebody pops BKB, basically you can use global silence and do bonus damage, and they're silenced. So basically BKB does nothing for those people except for preventing Last Word from doing magic damage and Arcane Curse from affecting them. I think that's potentially very good. This could actually really push Silencer into a good place for a situational pick, especially with the 200 attack range of 25. That said, he's kind of vulnerable. He has kind of bad talents. His 10 talent and his 15 talent are pretty shit. Let's say even his 20 talent is kind of bad. But definitely gives him the potential to be situational pick here. I like it. Scythe Mage, 75 damage, 10% lifesteal. This is like one of the worst talents in the game because the hero, one of the ways he got nerfed when he first got popular was he just got all these agility gain nerfed, like just like crazy, super agility gain nerfs. He has terrible, terrible agility gain, which means low armor and very low attack speed also. So, why get 75 damage when you're not going to attack fast anyways? So 10% spell lifesteal makes him a little better in that if you just cast spells, you can stay alive. So this could really push towards Ags as an item for the hero, just because if you just cast Arcane Bolt, it hits 2 people, and you're going to spell lifesteal 10% of that. It's not a lot, but I mean, this can easily do like 300 damage at some point, which is 30 HP. Cast it every 2 seconds, you're getting 68. That's basically 30 HP per second casting Arcane Bolts. Not to mention casting your ultimate with that spell lifesteals. I like this change a lot. It should really help Skywrath cores, especially, be stronger in the mid game once they hit 15, without having to buy like tons of survivability items and get an armor item, another armor item that can just be fairly safe. Used to really like this hero. I barely touch him anymore though. Where are we at? Sark, intelligence gain reduced by a little bit, so it's going to be harder for him to use Pounce a billion times, Dark Pact a million times, Ultimate, Shadow Blades, all that stuff, which is not that big of a deal. It's like, what, 0.2? So that's like 2 mana per level or something that he'll have less. Not a huge amount. Will slightly affect his spell amp, but not much. So it's kind of small change. Spectre Haunt cooldown rescaled. Oh shit, get wrecked, Spectre. Oh man. That's a powerful nerf right there. 180? That's 3 minutes, guys. That's three whole minutes. But the reason that I feels overkill to me a little bit personally, but it is so good because you just wait till your allies gank somewhere or somebody's low and you just haunt and get a kill. And every time haunts off cooldown, you kill them again. But now it actually, if you're behind on Spectre and you haven't hit 12 yet, you can punish this so easy because you know that the cooldown is just super long. So basically, if you're losing on Spectre and your opponents are trying to teamfight you, or if you use haunt badly, then your hero is just shit until you finish it. So it's kind of just making Spectre more of the ultra hard carry that she is, rather than letting you abuse haunt and dagger to get a bunch of kills early. But this is a pretty big nerf. But like I said, if you're late game, it doesn't matter. Won't make any difference. But it definitely will matter early game, basically before you hit level 12. So between 6 and 12 is a lot harder for Spec now. Spectre was going to be bad without this nerf. Why are you talking? Why do you say that? I mean, Radiance got worse. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but my brain's a little frizzled right now. Spiritbreaker, already talked about this one. Just makes your bash do more damage when you charge through people and stuff. Sven's God Strength now grants a bonus strength when activated, but the attack bonus is reduced. So I assume that these numbers offset them. Let me think for a second. So the attack bonus is based off your base numbers and your strength, right? So if you use, what's 80% of 16, for example? Oops. It's probably like 12 or something, 12.8. So basically, if you use your level 1 ultimate now, it gives you 16 strength, which is a lot of HP. It's 320. Is that right? Yeah, 320 HP by using your God Strength. And it gives you 80% bonus damage, but it also gives you an extra 12.8. So basically just using it automatically from this and the 80%, it gives you 28.8. So it gives you 28.8 damage base, not to mention 80% of whatever you currently have. So basically it just gives you a lot more damage. And it gives you a lot of HP. Like 40 strength is insane. That's 800 HP. So you get 800 HP by using God Strength. And it probably still gives you a lot of damage. I wonder if the Ags is different. Probably not. It still gives you the same percentages in the AoE. But it's cool. It just makes you more tanky now. Kind of cool. 250 attack damage on techies. Yeah, like you guys said, it's unlikely people get it. But let's see what the other one is. 20% cooldown reduction. Nobody's going to get that. I feel like no techies grabs that at 25. Other than people that are messing around, of course. Now, with that said, let's look at his techies talents. Can you be a carry? Probably not. 20 movement speed at 10 is pretty much your go, but you probably get mana regen, maybe cast range, experience gain. Maybe you get the experience gain, you try to translate, but it's just unrealistic. No techies is going to go 250 damage at 25. I mean, maybe you can turn into a core, and so, I mean, your range is really high. Attack range is like It's like 700 or something base. Maybe you get like a, a late game, like, I mean, you're going to have 4 staff in a lot of cases, so maybe you go 4 staff into Hurricane Pike. And then you attack from like 900 range, you hit 25, and also you get 250 damage, and you're hitting for like 350 from like 900 range away. Sounds fun. Sounds really fun, honestly. Maybe it works. It's an option, but 20% cooldown reduction on remote mines, and stuns, and stasis traps, and blast off, and minefield sign. That's so good. I feel like this only works in like ultra rare games or in dicking around, so I don't really see this happening. Agility gain reduced. TA was arguably one of the most powerful mids at the tournament. This is a nice potential, but this agility gain nerf is kind of a lot. 0.4 is 10 levels, that's 4. It's not that much, honestly. But it'll add up over the course of 25 levels. It's 0.4 times 25. That is 24 technically. It's about 10 agility, so it's 10 attack speed, 1 and 3/7 armor, 10 damage. It's a little. Won't matter that much though. Terrorblade, Metamorphosis, movement speed, loss increase, so they're a little slower when you ulti. Yeah, we knew about this. Tidehunter buffed. Gush cheaper at level 1, which is kind of a big deal. Should make him better at laning. Gush level 1 is actually such a good skill. It's like 110 damage, minus 3 armor. It's a really good level 1 skill. Aghanim's Gush now does a small ground reveal on units that are hit. Okay. I like that. That's actually very good because the cast range is huge, so you could just scout with it, and it's like a 8-second cooldown or something. I don't remember. Tidehunter, 12, so it is actually pretty long, but... Oh no, it's 7. Scepter cooldown 7. Damn, that's really good. So you can cast it every 7 seconds, it goes 1800 units, and if it hits an enemy, you can see them. Which is not bad. Not bad at all. I was kind of thinking about Tide, like, why doesn't he get played anymore? But he's kind of bad in lane. He doesn't jungle as fast as heroes like Axe and Legion do, so... but this will definitely help him lane a lot better. You can actually get a Gush early and maybe kill people. Tiny base damage by 4, grow increases Craggy exterior chance by these percentages. I think that's kind of good. Craggy is kind of in a shit place right now. It's not that great. Tiny still has armor problems, so that at least he can stun them maybe. The base damage doesn't make a big difference at all, actually, because it'll just help him last hit pre-6. Wow, this actually has a higher win chance. I was wondering about this, because this damage is doubled while you toss somebody, so it's actually a 400 damage increase to your combo. I was theory crafting this refresher build that I never got around to doing. It's interesting to see the talent usage, but I mean, I'm sure a lot of that is just random stuff. A lot of pro players play Tiny, man. Oh, this has the highest win rate. Igneous Stone, man. What was I looking for? Oh yeah, Craggy chances. Hey. Ignore it. Just people, ignore them. 25% chance to stun, so it goes up to 35% chance, which is quite good for a 2-second stun duration. Is it only melees? Only melees, okay. Maybe you just go Tiny and you build HP items, and you just stand in the middle of the enemies. That honestly could be towards somewhere a viable strat, maybe. Just play against all melees, and they can obviously BKB and right-click you, but I still gotta try the Tiny build. I'll make it work someday. Nature Guys now applies a full disarming root rather than a bash on attack. Disarming root, okay. And 40 leech seed damage and heal, which is quite good, I think. That tree change, we'll talk about it in just a second. I just want to look at leech seed quick. 40 is a lot, so that's 600 damage and AoE heal. That's really good. But that is at level 25, and the other one is the Living Armor block. But I will certainly, there's definitely going to be a lot of cases where I grab the Leech Seed now. Because the cooldown gets so low, it's 7 seconds, pulses 6 times. Like, first of all, it's a 600 damage nuke, which is huge. Right? It goes from 360 to 600. So almost doubles the damage. No, that can't be right. 360, 40 extra pulse. Why does it feel so wrong? Why am I so confused? 60 damage per pulse. Pulse is 6 times. I'm not doing my math wrong, I don't think. It is 360. You add 40 to that. I guess that's right. 40, yeah, 240. I'm not sure why that looked weird to me. No, I was right. It's 600. I don't know why that felt wrong. I thought it would... The jump from 360 to 600 feels like a lot, I think, because 300 is half of 600. So therefore 360 feels like half-ish of 600, even though it's not. I think that's why it looked weird. Anyways, that's a lot of AoE heal. That can be really good. The armor is also good, but depending on the lineup, this gives you more options at level 25, which is cool. This disarming root rather than a bash means you can't stun people from TPing unless you overgrowth, which is nice because it limits the hero's disable options. You also can't bash somebody, wait 3 seconds, so then they're not stunned for 0.8 seconds and bash them again. It also really affects the pro scene. Treants can't just blink to stun somebody to initiate, which was kind of OP. Now it just prevents you from using like ball lightning and stuff. If you have a BKB though, you can remove it all, I assume. And it disarms, so it prevents you from attacking. So basically if you're against a late game carry who has items, then it's far less useful. But early mid game, it's still very good, I would say. Improve consistency of Ice Shard when pushing units in and out of shards and impact. Okay. Now starts the blockers at the cast location rather than centering the blockers around the cast rotation. Starts the blockers at the cast. What does that mean? Okay, so wherever you cast the ice shards is where the blockers start, which is the blockers is like the ice blocks. They start at the cast location, so it goes exactly where you want it to, rather than centering the blockers. So basically, here's the blockers, right? It's a U-shaped. Before, like, you cast it here, this is the center point. This is where the ice shards would be. But now, the ice shards are like this. The ice shards block right where you cast, which means it's easier to cast it exactly where you want it to. You don't have to kind of guess where the center is, or have to like look, like cast a spell once and look to see where your mouse was and look at the difference and make that choice. So it's basically easier to cast it. They improve consistency here. It's easier to cast it. The cast range is increased by 200. Okay, as a result of the other change, the effective cast range would have been 200 less because you used to cast from the circle rather than the blockers, so now the range is increased by 200. But basically it's the same skill. And the speed's increased by a little. So very small buff, consistency change. Ultimately, this is going to make Tusk more playable and more skill shot-y, but good. It's good. It does cancel TP. Oh yeah, it does, because roots cancel TPs, obviously, right? You're right. Sorry. Yeah, the root does cancel TPs because Frostbite. Well, Frostbite has a. Really? Cancels TPs? Yeah, the roots, because, alright, Frostbite cancels TPs because it has a mini stun in it. A Rod of Atos is a root, but that doesn't stop TPs. That doesn't necessarily mean that this should cancel TP. It doesn't technically say. It says it's a full disarming root, but that should mean a root that prevents you from attacking, kind of similar to what CM's root does. But it doesn't say that it stuns. So I'll just check it after. Ember Chains stop TPs? They do. Does that have a mini stun though? Not all roots do an interrupt. Yeah, I think Ember Chains also have an interrupt. Overgrowth also does stop TPs. You're right. I'll test it afterwards. I see that you guys. I believe you guys, but I'll just do it on stream to make sure. I need to do. What were the two that I have to do? Check tree bash for root and can't remember what the other one you guys wanted me to check. Maybe I don't care. Yeah, root consistency is actually incredibly all over the place. Atrophy Aura, this hero is actually really fucked previously. Atrophy Aura damage reduction rescaled, so it does a little bit more at level 1. 4%, which is just so stupid. 4%? It does nothing. Lowers creep damage by like 1. Atrophy Aura counter now lingers through death. Okay. That way, if you have an Aegis, you'll still have the bonus damage, and also if you die but respawn instantly, you'll still have it. But I assume it's still on a timer. Added Underlord's Scepter. Atrophy Aura's bonus damage is now granted to nearby allied heroes for half of the bonuses. Okay, increase bonus damage duration by 40. This is a very viable item potential here, because the hero is, right now you just buy like survivability items, you get like Greaves and Pipe and shit, and you just kind of like farm all the time and you show up to fights. But now the cool part is that, Does this mean that you get stacks while being dead in the ground where you're standing, or does this mean that you... I'm not sure. It's not super specified. Does it mean that if you die, the aura is still giving your allies damage? Or does it mean that if you die and respawn at your base, the aura didn't disappear because you were dead? I assume it means it didn't disappear because you were dead. It would be stupid, probably, in OP if it lingered even while your dead body was there. Yeah, I'm sure it cancels TP. I believe that one guy. But this is very good for basically carries, pretty much making your carries better. You could probably play like Underlord Ags and Magnus Ags, and just wait. No, Magnus Ags is different now. It doesn't give AOE cleave anymore. That would have been cool though. Those two together. Just play like Drow. You could do like Drow Ranger with Underlord now. Just bunch of bonus damage. You get half the bonuses, so every creep that dies, you give an AOE 2.5 damage, which is pretty good. It's not bad. Increases bonus damage duration by 40 seconds. I didn't even see that. That's potentially really good. Because if you're winning a team fight, you can easily get bonus like 100 damage. That's a lot of damage potential. So it basically fits in right with what you do already. You already buy Greaves, you buy a Pipe, put those two together, keep your allies more alive, and with Ags afterwards, you get a tanky item that also amplifies your team's right-click damage, which helps make up for the fact that Underlord himself doesn't do very much damage. Alright, this one was great. Really good buff to Undying here, I think. Ursa base damage reduced by 3. The hero's very strong right now. This kind of adds up because you do attack very often on heroes with overpower and stuff like that. So base damage is pretty good on the hero. Vengeful Spear, Wave of Terror, cooldown rescaled to be lower if you max it out, which is probably a nice way to change it. Vengeance Aura reduced just a tiny bit. 2% at all levels. Interesting changes. How much damage does this do again? I know it's pure damage. It's not terrible. But 160, 120, 120 pure. Wait, it's magical now? They changed it? It's magical that pierces spell immunity, I'm guessing. That's kind of shit. I thought it was pure. 120. Oh, please. 1 sec. Instantly turn around. She's looking at me. Come here. Yes, let me pet your head and your back so that you don't bark. Yes. Hello. Yep, you're pretty cute. 16-second cooldown's pretty good though. It lasts for 15. Should help you push waves a lot better. So it's good for pushing waves because it lowers the armor of all the enemy creeps. So you can lower the armor of them, and then your wave will push faster, which gives you potential to gank and stuff like that. So the cooldown reduction here is actually going to make a big difference on Venge winning an average game, I think. Poison Sting slow. Let's take a look at that as well on Veno. It's very good stuff. Currently slows for 14%. So that'd put up to 28% if a Plague Ward attacks a hero. 24% slow. And that lasts for 15 seconds, which is kind of god tier. So this is potentially very good. And I like it as a, either can defend with really strong Plague Wards 3 times. I forgot it's 3 times. Or I can affect teamfights better by slowing people for even more. So it's got to be so obnoxious to play against. 28% slow for 15 seconds. that's actually insane. Don't want to play against that. Viper Strike now deals its first tick of damage immediately. Okay. And Viper Strike cooldown rescaled. So this the problem with the Viper Strike before is if you cast it on somebody, they would blink away because the tick would hit a second later. But now it lands at the start, which means slightly better chance to kill somebody as they TP out as Viper, and slightly more effective against TPs. Viper as a whole is... Ags used to be one of the best Viper items, but kind of just fell off. People just didn't get it anymore. But with that said, Viper Strike DPS at 25, which is plus 80, which is pretty good. It's actually a really good nuke. Let's do the math. 145 times 5 is what it does normal at level 3. That's a big nuke. But if we do 145 plus 80, 225 times 5. So 1100 magic damage, hypothetically, if you're 25 on Viper. And you can cast it every 12 seconds, I think, with Ags. With that said, 20 armor is... You can't pass that up. You just can't pass up 20 armor. It's impossible. There's no way you don't get 20 armor on Viper at level 25. But maybe there's some like weird ass situation where Viper Ags is viable again or something. But there's no way. There's just no way you don't get 20 armor at 25. So, it's this is good though. I mean, this will help all Vipers, honestly. Viper Strike cooldown rescaled a little bit, so slightly lower cooldown. It's fine. Visage Grave Chill buff. This hero is pretty bad at laning. What level was that at? 15 maybe? Actually, I have no idea. What's that? 20. Okay. The hero just has a lot of laning problems. I'm just not sold on him. Like off lane, what is this shit? I don't know what that is. It's like a dual off lane. The hero's bad at laning, has very low armor, very low magic resistance. Negative armor at level 1 is pretty bad. The damage is okay. The attack point's atrocious, 0.46. Your movement speed is 285. You have like less than normal magic resistance. It's like 10%. The experience gain makes sense, is better, just because it levels you up to having like maxed out skills faster, and the talent trees are pretty good. And then higher levels of birds as well. This is actually so value 30%. 90 GPM is just not worth it, I think, unfortunately. Health gain over, oh yeah, this is new obviously. So this percentage is all based on the previous talent, so this won't necessarily be accurate, but I could certainly see the Soul Assumption Double Strike being really value, because that skill's fantastic actually. If you're staying alive in fights, 6 times 65 plus 20, so it does 410 magic damage. So if you have the Ags, it does 410 magic damage to 2 heroes. That's not bad. Maybe not the heroes you want, but hits a random second target within cast range. So it can't hit the same hero twice, I assume, unless there's just one. I'm not sure how this works. Does it hit 2? If there's only one hero in the AoE, will it hit that guy twice? If there's a hero and a creep, will it hit the creep? But if there's only one, will it just hit one? I'm not sure. It can't hit twice on the same hero, no. Okay. Still pretty good, because ultimately you can cast that every 4 seconds, so if you're paying attention, you can deal a lot of damage with this hero. And there's also a Spell Amp perk somewhere. Yeah, 25. I doubt it's very worth it, like over movement speed for familiars, but now it might be, because if you get Soul Assumption Double Strike and you get Spell Amp, then all of a sudden you're dealing more like, you're probably dealing like 500 damage a nuke instead of 400, which is kind of a lot. Could add up. So kind of interesting. We'll see how it works out for the hero. God, I just would, like, the hero's just so bad pre-6. That's the problem. You have to like get a lot done. Although I would say he's probably better now because camps respawn all the time. So even if you can basically pull way more often on this hero. So I'd say Visage is probably decent at the moment, as long as you don't get your camps blocked. So any hero that has to be a little greedy or sucks at laning is going to be way better now than they were previously. Hopefully we see less of a push away, less of a push towards those like only heroes that are only good at laning. Chaotic Offering mana cost goes up. Summons a Golem on death, which is pretty cool. I like it. Level 20. What's the other one though? I couldn't remember. 350 health. I was right about that. I think I said 300, but I think that's pretty good. I think I would grab that. Depends on what my survivability is like. Maybe I get the health, but summoning a Golem on death is not bad at all. Not bad at all. You can farm camps with that, push with it, stuff like that. Wow, interesting. This had way higher win rate, the respawn time, and almost everybody grabbed it. Whereas the health was actually better. I'm surprised about that. I'm not surprised about this. Stat gain is potentially a lot better than the experience gain, but slightly surprised about this. It's probably pubs affecting it though, in my opinion, more so than higher skilled players. Wind Ranger level 20 talents are now, so they just completely changed them. What were they before? It was like Spell Amp and Magic Resistance, I think. Wind Run grants invisibility, okay, and plus 120 power shot damage. That's a cool change. That actually fixes the hero in a lot of way, I think. It's basically 5-second Shadow Blade on a 12-second cooldown. 6-second Shadow Blade? That's actually really good. That's so good, actually. God, that actually fixes the hero in so many ways. What 120 power shot damage is really good because it did 420 before. Now it do 540 magic damage. Is amazing. The reason the invis is cool is because it lets you basically lets you initiate. You don't need a Shadow Blade necessarily. You don't need a Blink Dagger necessarily. You don't need a Force Staff. You can use Wind Run. You can look for heroes, and if you don't see them, you walk away. And it makes you faster, which is not bad. People will be able to know that you're there because Wind Run does slow people. So if they're paying attention, they'll see they're slowed, similar to like Invoker Ghost Walk. But it doesn't force you to know where your opponents are and then be able to land a shackle. You'll be able to look for 6 seconds to see if you can find somebody. And even if you don't find them, I don't think it's a big deal. Like you can get the 40 movement speed perk at 15 and use that just to walk around faster. And then if your Wind Run's not up, it's not as big of a loss. And I kind of feel like Wind Ranger could be super valuable going for 30% Wind Run slow some games. The only problem is Wind Run's purgeable now, so it's very easy to counter it. But it'll be harder now if you're invis. That's just so good. I feel like this hero is going to hit huge win rates in pubs now because all players have to do is get to 20, which isn't necessarily easy. But the 4 mana regen at 10 is god tier though, so it's hard to get the Wind Run slow. The 40 movement speed is super good. That's so much movement speed. But the hero usually grabs some mobility. So you basically have to get to 20 for this to get really good. By the way, power shot damage is really good too. 120 is amazing. 30% cooldown reduction? I don't even remember that. When did that happen? I thought it was like I must not have read ahead. There we go. It changed. It used to be like -7 second power shot change. And the other one was attack range. I don't know why they wrote it like this. It should technically say the -7 power shot at 25. Like they're not always consistent on the patch notes, unfortunately. But I guess maybe they did it because this one was here. They wanted to keep it consistent. So this used to be a power shot cooldown reduction. It would put it at like 2 seconds or something. But now it's just 30% across the board. I think this is better because Windrunner was too focused on having to play the same builds every single time. You basically had to buy Ags because your ultimate cooldown was so goddamn low. 60 seconds is really long. If you get Ags, it's 15, which is a 75% cooldown reduction. So now, hypothetically, if you just get the cooldown reduction at 25, instead you just have, like, you can actually cast Focus Fire every, like, I don't know, it's probably like 42 seconds or something like that, which is a little bit better. You could do Shackles. I don't know, let's just do the numbers. 12 times 0.7, I assume is how it works out. 8.4 second Shackle, which is about half uptime, a little bit less. Power Shot will be like 6 seconds, still really good, and Wind Run, importantly, will also be 8.4 seconds. So that means 6 out of 8.4 seconds you can be invisible on Wind Runner now. That is super good. That kind of changes the hero in a lot of ways. Guarantee low-level pub players are going to hate Windrunner from now on in late game. I would still probably buy Ags on the hero. I don't think the cooldown reduction is low enough. The 150 attack range is good, but I think I get the cooldown. You get the cooldown reduction. There's no way you skip that now. There's no way you could get attack range over that, because that's going to apply towards Blink Daggers, Force Staffs, BKBs, Orchids, Bloodthorns, all that good stuff. You could do it on a Hurricane Pike if you want to. That's really good. Pretty cool changes. But that invis thing is going to change a lot for late game Wind Rangers, that's for sure. Cool change to Wind Ranger. I think this also might help the hero a lot late game. You still got to get to 20 though. Pre-20 she'll still have the same problems. She needs like Blink Dagger, Force Staff, maybe a Maelstrom, stuff like that. She has a iffy-ish early game. But we'll probably see, maybe we'll see Wind Rangers buy Shadow Blades and sell it later, for example, which would really help the hero a lot because you kind of do need Blink Force. And this would save you an item slot because you could just rely a bit more on Wind Run. Or maybe use Shadow Blade to initiate and Wind Run to run. Perhaps that could work. Winter Wyvern's Curse Stack Speed, small buff to results, respawn talent for Cold Embrace duration. The other one is, I have no idea. 120 GPM. So that would put up to 5 seconds. Another second of disable for your ally, by the way. But an extra 6% health. Maybe selectively good. Witch Doctor Scepter now additionally provides True Strike to Death Ward. I think that actually really needed to happen. Because if somebody has like a Solar Crest or something, like your Death Ward just doesn't do anything. Just sucked. But now, man, that's some bonus. Doesn't matter if they have, I guess Radiance wouldn't matter, but if they have like a Butterfly or something, your pretty much your only option was like Bloodthorn. But now you could use Solar Crest to lower their evasion. You could use Bloodthorn, you can use Eggs. All of those would work. Eggs is just super value now. So every bounce will hit, it won't miss, and they bounce. Pretty good. 2 cast bounces. I think this is 90 damage and 2 cast bounces right now. 90 damage is pretty good selectively, but generally it's not worth it. It's probably better to go cast bounces for sure. Just because that puts you up to what, 10 bounces? 10 bounces. So that does potentially 150 damage per bounce. That's so much. It's like 1500 magic damage paralyzing cast can do if it's just heroes. Pretty good. Wraith King. Okay, so the 20 talent is strength and attack speed. Now it's 10% Vamp or lifesteal, which used to be the 25, which is still pretty worth getting because you'd go from 25 to 35. It used to be, no, is it 30? Okay, so you go from 30 to 40. It used to be 30 to 50 at 25. And now, Reincarnation cast Wraith Fire Blast. That's pretty freaking good. Replaces the slow. What does it mean, replaces? Oh, replaces the slow. Okay, so if you get this talent, rather than slow people, it shoots out Wraith Fire Blast instead. Which is potentially very good. Hey, she's got her frisbee. We lost her frisbee at the dog park the other day, but she's got a new one. Now you're going to hear her having a good time with it. Maybe I can steal it from her. Tango, would you like some food? Hey. Come here. Get the frisbee. Okay. Good girl. Go play with it. Now she doesn't want to be near me because I stole her frisbee. This is pretty good. Wraith Fire Blast, keep in mind that you can get the perk that increases the damage by a little bit, by 50, which is 100 damage. And then it would hit everybody. The slow's pretty good, honestly, but depending on the enemies, like attack speed slow is kind of bad against support heroes, right? It's good against carries, whereas stuns are pretty much good against everybody. I like this. In some ways, it makes Refresher viable on the hero, because you're going to hit everybody for like 300 some magic damage every time you cast Wraith Fire Blast, every time you die. It's cool though. And in some ways, it's just like the 20% Vampor was just so kind of broken. I actually played against it the other night. I was against a Viper, and he was so hard to kill because he had 50% lifesteal from the 50% from the Vampora. It was really tough to kill him. But now at least it's only 40, and people would be passing up attack speed. Makes that level a lot harder. Do you want 40 attack speed, or do you want 10% more lifesteal? Because basically late game, it's like, do they have a Diffusal Blade? No? Okay, then I'm getting the Vampiric Aura lifesteal. And now it's like, gotta make your decision. Although you don't necessarily always want Reincarnation cast Wraith Fire Blast. You probably do, realistically. There's just no way. If they have Mana Burn, you have to get Reincarnation mana cost. If they don't have Mana Burn, you're like, cool, I'm gonna stun everybody. Which is awesome. That's pretty cool. 300 total damage, guys. That's not bad. And a 2-second stun. Respawn talent. Alright, we're done. The problem is you have to hit 25 to get that. But Wraith King certainly can, I'm sure. This build looks pretty fun. Ooh, Mask of Manus. Yeah, that actually works because you can blink stun and then use Mask. I like it. 5 hours ago, and he's already done the Deso build. Mask of Mana's Deso. That actually looks... Okay, the problem with this, though, is he's got too much lifesteal, but I don't know if it matters. Because he has so much attack speed, it might be super worth it. I actually want to watch this replay really badly, but... he's going to have some survivability problems, but I guess Armlet kind of covers that. Should we watch it? I do want to watch this. I actually have to get going though. I have to go do some out of the house things. I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but I'll probably jump through it a little bit. And I guess that's it. That's it for the patch, so let us do this. Turn that off. Turn that off. And technically I shouldn't even do this. I should do this. We'll just poke through it. Kind of curious to see how well it works. I'm sure he just like 4-shot people or something. Yeah, I know. I have to go test uphill miss on flying unit. Why? I don't need to do that. No invoker buffs. Alright, while we get to the right time, I'm gonna run ads. I just turned the audio up. Hopefully it's not too loud. Alright, I'm gonna run ads and I'll be back. We'll look at the replay really quick.
It's as certain as my choice of
Prepare
air.
for battle.
This one is in the bag.
What time did you get the mask at? 20 minutes for the deso.
Thanks.
I declare with
It's an
utter
open
certainty
secret,
that
obvious
this
to all,
one
that
is
this
in
one is
the
in the
bag.
bag.
Okay, clearly wasn't support, but Sange Mango 2 clarities. Interesting.
The battle is mine.
Guess he had leftover gold. That's probably why he did this. Oh, yes, get every deny. Just want to play Dota now. Quite badly, I must say. Every deny, man. It's gold gained. Alright, I think we should just skip forward. I don't need to watch this part. Let's go to like... I went phase boots. Okay. Skipped his ult. Okay, it says he has the armlet buff, but that's just it's a bug. Alright, now he will get the armlet buff. What's going on a mission? Okay, that's pretty cool. Dude, that's actually so good to have a Zeus plus a Calling Blade hero. Deny everything. Dude, they are like owning this game so hard. It's like you bought Blight Stone early. Or I was thinking about it at least. Yeah, honestly, I don't think Monkey King as a support is going to work super well anymore. Because if you have no farm, your ultimate's not even going to be that useful. Maybe if his stun durations were the same with his ultimate, doing no damage, it would work, but now he just doesn't feel good without farm, so he basically has to farm now. Which he's not good at unless he's a core, and guaranteed some farm. He's against AM this game, actually, I didn't even notice. That was actually pretty obvious that he was there, for some reason. At least it looked like that to me. Yeah, that did not work out so well. So far, he's been a little outplayed. But he will certainly farm faster. He definitely gets all the lifesteal. Not the best use of Wraith King ultimate I've ever seen. And the movement speed part looks good. Like he can basically delay. He basically doesn't have to get blinked this way, which is why he got phase. Because phase with Mask of Manus just makes him super fast. So he can just gap close really rapidly. He skips blink dagger, but he has more damage as a result. It's kind of a cool build. I like it. And any attack speed he's losing, he makes up for by having Mask of Manus. I actually really like this build. I think it's very smart. There's still going to be times that you need blink dagger, but there's a lot of times as well that this build could definitely be superior. Magnus going standard stuff.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
No worries, guys. Monkey King can't do literally anything.
Radiant's
What does this guy have?
bottom tower is under attack.
2 armor, 900 HP.
Radiant's bottom tower
I'm kind of wondering if you should max Primal Spring earlier now. I feel like that might be a better thing. Yeah, I should have watched it at 1x speed because it just looked irrational how good that was at damage.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
I mean, so far this has just been really straightforward. It was just like good early game pressure and stuff.
Under attack.
Definitely, his tower hitting ability is definitely way better with the Mask of Midas though. Like the attack speed goes up so much. He doesn't have to worry about not being tanky enough or hide enough damage because he didn't buy a Blink Dagger. Just makes a ton of sense.
Money to burn.
Alright, now we're gonna watch some two-shot people. His armor is definitely low though when he uses Mask, but I don't know if it's gonna matter enough. Looks like he's thinking about Blink after, because he needs it to counter the anti-mage.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Don't I creeps, guys?
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
He's supposed to be really careful about the TA actually. TA is kind of a hard counter to Monkey or to Wraith King. Because of the minus armor, it just like cuts through him so fast that his double ulti doesn't feel like it matters as much.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
You almost always go movement speed
Radiant structures
for chasing purposes, especially when you go this build. Now he'll just lifesteal the full. Fullish. Yeah, I think AC is better. It's a good idea. Yeah. Nah, yeah. I guess Blink is still important. I'm kind of thinking that he should just get tanky, but he still has HP problems because of the build he went, especially with Deso. Whereas with Blink, he can actually just kill somebody, which I guess makes sense. He hits really hard.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Blink Dagger paid off. A lot of people think that anti-mage hard counters Wraith King, but not always. If you set tempo correctly with Wraith King, it's actually really effective. Because you have a stun and you have a lot of physical damage, which is exactly what AM's weak to. So you have to be careful if you're playing against it as an AM. If everything gets really passive and AM's allowed to get like full items, then yeah, Wraith King is not that great against it, but...
Radiant's top tower
Pretty straightforward.
Dire's bottom tower
I'll go high ground if anybody shows up, he's just gonna blink kill him.
is under attack.
Just does so much damage.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
He couldn't stun there because he was silenced, but I don't think it really matters.
Top tower is under
Oh no, Monkey King ult! Watch out, guys!
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And damage wise, it looks okay. It does attack faster, but
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
that's right, Monkey King ulti with Echo Saber is something else I wanted to check. Got a hood? I don't know if that's the move.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
This would be a bad time for him to lose ult.
Tower has fallen. Dire's bottom barracks are under attack.
Alright, I think we've seen enough, guys.
Dire's bottom barracks.
Someone tell Purge that the flying uphill miss he thought was wrong. What am I talking about? I think it's gonna be busting this patch. I don't know if anybody's gonna be super OP. Maybe like Veno level 25 or something like that. Maybe. But it seems just like overall good changes. I don't think anyone... Well, maybe Magnus got overbuffed, perhaps. Other than that, it seemed pretty okay to me. Yep. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Look at the TA talent. Did I miss that? No, I didn't. I hit that. I skipped it this time because I saw it earlier in the day. It was -8 armor at 25, I believe, right? Templar. Yeah, I caught it. Level -8 armor. Covered it at the start. Very good some games. Could be good. Did this guy get it? Oh, he's not 25 yet, duh. It's part of the problem. It's like so late, it might not matter. But there's certainly times where it could help you continue to like two-shot people late game. But armor gets kind of, like minus armor strats get worse as the game goes on, so this might be a way to help counteract that a bit. To make TA fall off less hard in the late game. That's probably why they did it. Alright, I'm done. I'm gonna get out of here. Yep, I talked about Bane stuff here. I think it's gonna be really... Oh. Beep beep. Alright. Thanks everybody for watching, appreciate it. You'll see this on YouTube. Got Dana show in 2 days on Wednesday, so come back for that. I will possibly stream later tonight. Maybe. Oh. If they kill Wraith King and use the smoke, would they disjoint the Wraith Fire Blast? Probably, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Was that one loud? I'm sorry. Does it work like you can't miss on flying unit, or flying unit can't miss uphill? Oh, does a flying unit's not allowed to miss? Is that what changed? That would make sense. Thanks for watching.